45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Let's see if the Warriors could start with a run here to open the fourth. They lead by 10. Curry right side, puts on the break, shoots a three over Thompson and knocked it down. Stephen Curry and Ahmed Thompson collided on the far side, and Curry took advantage of it.
Warriors radio, final score 103-89. Game 7 was a laugher for the Warriors. They move on. Pearl, they'll face the Minnesota Timberwolves. And it was Steph Curry who couldn't hit the ocean, which is something we never, ever say about Steph Curry. Missed his first 7 of 8 shots and then ends up being the guy down the stretch. Stop me if you've heard that before. Brilliant fourth quarter. Warriors put the clamps down on the Houston Rockets. And really the question becomes about Curry here. They'll move on, as I said, to face the Minnesota Timberwolves. But is he having a better late career surge, if you will, than LeBron James?
No.
His biggest rival?
No way. His biggest rival, historically, legacy-wise. I mean, LeBron is rewriting the record book every single time he walks out on the court. So there's nobody who's had a late career like LeBron in the history of the NBA. No one even close, in my opinion.
Well, Kareem is the oldest to ever win a Finals MVP. LeBron is second oldest. He won one at 35 years old. Curry won one at 34. So they're kind of right there. And, to be honest, I don't want to turn this into that conversation, but that bubble title, I mean, that was made for the old guys because they got a 3-month break or 2-month break in between the season where they all got to get re-energized and everything like that. So I'm not completely poo-pooing the bubble title, but Curry played a harder opponent in the finals with the Boston Celtics, the up-and-coming Celtics. He did not have Anthony Davis next to him in that title. His second best player was who? Was it Andrew Wiggins? In that finals run, Steph was unbelievable. I think Steph Curry is having the better late career run than LeBron.
Wait, so you're really focusing on finals, but what about LeBron's MVP-like numbers into his late 30s, where Steph's been great, but he's way younger than LeBron. At this point, LeBron was dominant. Steph's 36 now?
He's 37.
37, yeah. LeBron was still amazing. LeBron, I think we only saw the drop off this year. Really, I just don't think Steph. Honestly, last night you saw. Obviously, Steph is not exactly Steph anymore. He's definitely a little bit worse, right?
Well, but when? Because when he's scoring 14 points in the fourth quarter to close out a Game 7, but it was not a blowout heading into that fourth.
When Thompson got the calf cramp, then it was over. But no, Curry obviously wasn't great last night. I mean, Buddy Hield single-handedly won the game.
Buddy Hield was a huge part of last night. He had a career high in a Game 7, but I'm looking at what Curry's able to do. I think the one thing that you always say about Curry, and I understand where you're coming from, but it sounds blasphemous when you say he's not athletic, right? He's not he's never had an above-the-rim game. He's obviously been maybe the best or second best shooter of all time, whatever you want to say. And his game will age well. I know you've always said that.
Wait, why does that sound blasphemous? Athletic is defined in sports terms as running fast and jumping high. That's what's called the athletic profile in the NFL. So athletically, he's totally different than these other guys.
Yeah, but I think there's an athleticism about how much he's running way more than anyone else. He's finding, what he's doing in terms of shooting. To say he's not athletic, he wouldn't be one of the best players to ever play basketball if he wasn't athletic. That sounds crazy.
He's coordinated and he's in good shape, but to quote Kenny Powers, running is not a skill. It is, but regardless.
Doesn't want to be the best at exercise.
I think and the other thing, too, is we're talking legacy-wise and LeBron. I mean, Steph, without the new game, the three-point line, would not be significant anymore. Like,
but I mean, LeBron added a 3-point shot later in his career that added a whole new dimension. So they both have used it. Curry, obviously, to a crazy degree because he didn't have the physical tools that LeBron has.
Right.
He's not 6'8", 250.
Right. The 3-point line will keep Steph Curry relevant until he's 40, just like LeBron. LeBron was a little more dependent, but Steph Curry is not exactly Steph Curry anymore.
Not trying to be the best at exercising.
Yeah.
See, here's the thing. I still think, though, that Curry, yes, Buddy Hield was awesome. He hit 8 threes last night, all of that. But Curry is still the number one guy on his team.
Yeah.
LeBron is at times, too. But Luka really came along. Anthony Davis was meant to be the guy to take the torch, and LeBron was going to take a backseat, but Anthony Davis kept getting hurt and, couldn't actually fulfill that, legacy.
Right, because LeBron is just a little bit older than Curry. When Curry's 40, I assume it'll be a similar dynamic. I just think that slight age difference changes the argument here. And I honestly, LeBron scored 24 points a game this year at 40. That's Curry probably will be able to do that, but I don't know that he's going to be any greater than LeBron.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. I think it's impossible not to watch these games, guys, and you're just like, man, Curry, when some of these fourth quarters, again, he was terrible in the first half. I'll give you that. I'll grant it to you. And they still were up by 10. I mean, they still were able to keep the Rockets at arm's length, partly because Buddy Hield, partially because the Rockets can't score to save their lives.
Yeah.
And they did hold them under 90 last night, which apparently was a big deal in this team meeting that happened before Game 7 and a big dinner that is now being touted as the reason that they won. But anyway.
Yeah, I can't tell if they're good at defense or the Rockets are bad at offense.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing where, first of all, Steph hasn't done anything this year. Nothing. He won a first-round series against a Houston team that is very, very young and is going to need more time to develop. So let's not talk about any achievement yet for Steph.
I get it. They were an under 500 team before Jimmy Butler got there, or around 500 team before Butler got there. I understand.
And they might be the T-Wolves because the T-Wolves have Rudy Gobert and will probably lose in some strategic game. But honestly, I feel like the way you're describing Steph is he's good enough to lead them to a title this year, and that's a huge question mark to me.
Yeah, it is a question mark, but I had them going to the Western Conference Finals before we started the NBA playoffs, and I'm not backing off of that.
Yeah, but that's just because of matchups. I mean, are they really a competitor to come out of the West? Maybe, but I have to squint to see that.
Well, I mean, listen, if they win this series, obviously then it's the winner of the Nuggets OKC, and I think that is I'm assuming that's going to be a long series. I'm assuming somebody's actually going to put up some resistance against OKC, and it would be the Nuggets. So maybe there's a knockdown, drag them out. Maybe it's a little more beat up after that. And then it's also just a veteran team. And as we get deeper into the postseason, you get more and more, you'll get a little bit more time in between games also, a little bit. You still have the 2 days generally. I don't know. I'm looking at this Warriors team damn, they were not even amazing last night. And look at what happened.
I'm looking at the odds. The Thunder are plus 125 to win the whole thing. They're basically even odds. And the Warriors are 25-1. They're fifth. I just think I don't see this as a team that is going to win a championship this year. Just because they beat the Rockets. I might cut that just in case it does happen. And part of it is because it's just not exactly the same Steph Curry from 5 years ago. I don't know if he can put this team on his back, and Butler can. They have to go up against some really tall teams moving forward, and they're obviously quite a short team. The Rockets tried to take advantage of it, but they could not. So we'll see if he can do this, and if he wins the finals, then I'm on your side on this one.
Well,
but right now, I feel like LeBron is by far not just the greatest late career player right now, of all time, and
even more than Kareem.
Oh my God, Kareem was
different.
Was a statue at this point of his career. In fact, way before at 40. LeBron is far, far ahead of where Kareem was. And, Kareem would do that. He would only come down once in a while. It was a different game, right? When's the last time Kareem scored 25 points a game?
Well, he was finals MVP when he was, 38? I mean.
Right, but he was not like LeBron.
Yeah, but here's the thing, I guess, I think you and I are also having this, we're seeing this differently. When you get to be an all-time great, and you're in your 30s, and let's just say post 35, now we're in some real rare air that you're even playing, let alone playing at a high level. I'm sorry. I'm not really going to be looking at every regular season game. Like the regular season, these are all guys who are defined by postseason, right? Like that's where we're at. You know, what Steph Curry did the regular season, I'm impressed. I'm impressed that LeBron plays as much even as he does, even with his post-All-Star breaks and winning the play-in tournament or whatever. But it's really about postseason stuff. 888-710-4ISN. Who's having the better late career?
I mean, obviously Magic. Kareem might have won that Finals MVP. I have no memory of that or whatever, but obviously that was Magic's team at that point. Anyway, Kareem did not score 25 points per game after the age of 33. That was his last time over 25. LeBron's done it, I think, 7 times. So he really fell off. He became very good, but kind of a role player.
Right, but that's like, what does the regular season matter for Kareem Abdul-Jabbar at that point? You know, there was no such thing as load management back then, right? He couldn't enjoy that kind of, like help with sports science and all of that stuff.
Yeah, I just think that what LeBron is doing is so far so different than everybody else. Yeah, I mean, come on. Kareem, you ever watch a highlight? You're like, what is going on here? It's like everybody has to wait for Kareem to get down.
Oh, come on. Don't do that.
Come on. Late Kareem
Kareem
was slow. I mean, it was designed into the way they played. Basically, either you got a fast break or you waited for Kareem, and then he took a hook shot. This was the league of big men, Robert Parrish and Hakeem. Like, it was a much, much different game. And Kareem was... Come on, old Kareem? You guys are into old Kareem?
Well, I don't want to have that discussion this morning, but I don't want to disrespect Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. But we're asking who's had the better late career. Is it LeBron or Curry? EJ, if you don't mind, put it up on the poll. And I think that, I think that we still are dazzled by, yes, some of the shots that Steph Curry makes. He still makes, these unbelievable logo 35-footers, all that stuff. But LeBron's ability to still, like, the tomahawk dunks, the chase down blocks, like he's always been a much better defender. So he will always have that in his hat because Curry's limited defensively. But the wow plays from LeBron that are still above the rim at 40 are obviously something that was never part of Steph's game. And I think something that I think weighs into your argument.
Well, you watch a LeBron game now and he sets a record for the oldest person to do this, the oldest person to do that every time he steps on the court, right?
I'm the petty king.
Also, too, you're acting like they're the same age.
No, I know. I know Curry's 37 and LeBron is 40. Well, I'm talking post 35.
Yeah, right. I mean, LeBron is going to have every record ever possible from 35 to 40, unless Curry chases it down. Like, Curry's got a little work to do here.
LeBron is 2-12 in his last playoff game, so we can talk about his stats, but at what point do those really matter if postseason you're getting bounced in the first round fairly easily?
What has Curry done? He just went 7 games with a team that is playing Steven Adams.
His team is playing. The other team is not playing. What do you mean?
You don't think the Lakers would have beaten the Rockets? They just ran into.
They just lost. But we can't do that. We can't do this guy won.
I totally forgot. I'm talking to a Knicks fan who treats a first-round playoff victory like it's parade time.
That America is deflecting because he can't argue the point I'm trying to make.
They beat the Rockets in 7. They took this Rockets team that's clearly not ready to be there to 7 games. They haven't achieved anything in this playoffs yet. This is Steph Curry we're talking about. I'm sure Curry would tell you I haven't done anything.
Okay,
in
what
this
about LeBron
playoffs
in the last 2 years? Because he also 2-12 doesn't accomplish just one season. He has not performed. His team has not performed in the postseason. That's a fact.
Yes, because they stink. I mean,
right,
basketball to Rui Hachimura.
Yeah, but to be fair, I mean, last year's Golden State team didn't make the playoffs, right? Made the play-in.
They were a play-in team this year.
I get it, but I mean, so the Lakers have been a play-in team also within the last 3 years.
I think you can't. In my argument, you don't to completely disregard the regular season. That's just a different way of looking at it.
Yeah,
I mean, you guys don't think LeBron, what is happening is kind of weird that he's so good so late?
But so is Curry.
Yeah, but Curry's younger. I mean, Curry's still younger than KD. I mean, a lot of guys, he was 33, 34 when he won. Like, that's the same age as Jordan. Jordan was actually older.
He's 35 when he won.
Right. No, I'm just saying his last finals MVP. This is where the drop-off usually happens a little later, 39 or 40. And LeBron, it just hasn't happened as dramatically.
It's really the one place where Jordan just cannot come into the conversation, And this is where LeBron and Steph kind of take, and Kareem obviously did what he did. But if you're talking about like these two guys who have been rivals for a long time, this is where we're in uncharted waters.
It became personal with me.
Because Jordan's the 4th oldest finals MVP. Curry's 5th. So it's not that different.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't realize that Jordan was 35 when he
34.
34.
Curry was actually 33, according to StatsMuse, when he won it, like right around his birthday. And Wilt won one at 35, Kareem 37, LeBron James 35. Here's the thing. Curry it's a lot of chasing to do. Because let's see what he does in 3 years. I'm willing to keep my mind open that he could do it, but he's a baby now. He's a
baby face.
He's a baby compared to LeBron.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Who's having the better late career? Say post 35. 888-710-4ISN. Lots to do. We've got highlights for you from the weekend of everything crazy that happened. We have more details about one of the biggest NFL stories of our lifetime, maybe?
Okay.
In certain respects. We've got so much for you. It's the Maggie and Perloff Show on this Monday. Who's having the better late career? The Lakers, LeBron James, the Golden State Warriors, Steph Curry. Let us know.
And I want my damn respect, too.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie Perloff Show. Debate today. Is Steph Curry having the best late career, say post 35, to give it a number, in NBA history after he was part of a victory over the Houston Rockets last night? Buddy Hield's team now in Golden State. Believe it or not. I'm just half kidding, but that was a crazy game. Anyone told me Buddy Hield and Draymond Green would be carrying the Warriors offensively to a 20-point lead over the Rockets, I would have not believed you. But Warriors get out of that one. LeBron James, just a quick search, is averaging 26.8 points per game between the ages of 35 and 40. That is a number that is going to be hard to top. Statistically, LeBron is rewriting the book. He's the only 40-year-old with one triple-double, let alone 40. So,
although I think we both believe that Curry may have a better shot to win a title late in his career than LeBron will. Because we asked this question last week when the Lakers got bounced. Can LeBron and Luka win a title together? And I believe the poll results were something like 99% to 1 no.
But LeBron got his at, 36, 35? If you're counting the bubble title. So he's still going to have the older title.
I think there's a caveat on the bubble title because I think it really helped the older guys.
Yeah, definitely. But here's the question. I still think it's a stretch to think that Curry's going to win another one. I'm not sure I see it because the Thunder are legit. So I just think this year it's going to be tough. And then moving forward for Steph Curry, are you going to win another one in Golden State?
We'll talk about that in a minute because obviously you got Jimmy Butler now for another couple years.
Who's just as old as Steph.
I know. James is in Fort Worth, gets us started here. James, who do you think's having the better late career, the better post-35 career, Curry or LeBron?
Curry.
Tell us why.
I feel like the defensive level against each player is totally different. Also, I feel like you have a guy that has a team that's built around him and that doesn't go from team to team and tries to build his own team. LeBron has tried to build every single team that he's gone to. Also, you're trying to compare like Olajuwon and like when people bring in Kobe and Michael Jordan, all that, you bring in total different eras of basketball.
Well, that's why LeBron and Steph is good because they're literally playing right now. I mean, last year, let's be fair, I'm on the Steph side of this, but let's be fair to LeBron. Beat the Warriors in 2023, not last year, 2023. And James, thank you for the call. James brought up something interesting there. Do you automatically dock LeBron James almost in any conversation about legacy, Perloff, because he did have to bounce around where Curry got to stay in Golden State? They built the team around him. They continue to build the team around him. You know, he's the sun and everyone revolves around it. LeBron does that too, but he just has to move around a little bit.
You know, I don't give LeBron the full bus rider treatment like Kevin Durant.
No.
But I don't actually dock LeBron for that. I know Jordan obviously did it with one team, the Bulls, and Curry will possibly do it with one team, the Warriors. I've heard that argument a lot, that LeBron had to go to Miami to win his title. I'm not sure I totally buy that because then he went to Cleveland and won with a team that really wasn't that great. I mean, they had Kyrie, but after that, they didn't have a lot of talent. So
Kevin Love, not that good.
Well, I mean, they weren't a super team. I don't think.
Okay.
I mean, how many games did they win the year before?
They didn't have Kevin Love.
Well, anyway, yeah. Also, Kevin Love not that good. I'll say that right now.
Wow.
I mean, Kevin Love
Also having a good late career. But
yeah, I mean, Kevin Love's having a good late career.
I'm just kidding. I mean, he's still playing.
But generally, I just think that LeBron gets a lot of credit for that Cleveland team. I think he was the sun, the moon, and the stars for that team. I don't think it's like KD going with the Curry.
No. I mean, listen, to be fair to Kyrie, hit maybe the biggest shot of that finals, but LeBron was the one who was the focal point. Yeah, I'll give you that. I guess here's the thing. It's to me, this is where Prof and I are going to agree on this. I'm not taking a guy down a peg. I don't hold it against anybody for leaving teams. Steph Curry walked into a situation where, Golden State had been not a great franchise, but got an incredible ownership group with a commitment to spending that has been almost second to none, even still, Perloff. Mm-hmm. They, picked him, rolled with Steph over early injuries, and sort of had this foresight. They said that they are light years ahead of everybody. They got clowned for that. It turned out they were right. He's had a phenomenal coach. He's been able to grow with one coach. LeBron, like the Cavaliers and Dan Gilbert, is he a really good owner? I see now the Cavaliers are obviously the 1 seed in the East right now, but is he an awesome owner? Was David Griffin a great GM? Did he have great coaches around him at all times? Like the stability that Steph Curry has been able to enjoy, LeBron really never had that. And I don't think it's his fault that he didn't have that, No,
definitely not.
Right. So I'm not going to fault a guy. I'm not going to fault him for leaving.
Yeah, here's the question. You have to go back to Cleveland and Miami. That was a big argument. Was it a little too obvious to go with Bosch and Wade? I do think remember he wore the black hat in the Nike ad. I do think there was that in the legacy era. It's like, oh man, he's got to go with Dwayne Wade to win a title. Durant and Curry together was just as egregious. Oh, absolutely.
Like they both have this. I know Steph didn't leave, but Durant, he went to the Hamptons and he recruited Durant, who could have gone anywhere. Like they both were on super teams.
I would have preferred legacy-wise if Curry had not recruited Durant and see if that team could have won without him, because I think they might have. Maybe not 2 in a row like they did and dominant fashion. But yeah, no, I definitely think that all factors in. I think all these are very valid points.
See, I think this is where it's a wash between the two of them. LeBron played on a super team, and so did Curry.
Yeah, he did.
They kind of have the same thing, and I both were egregious, both were criticized, both changed people's legacies. Steph's not as much. Durant certainly got changed.
I also want to say one thing about Steph Curry's 2021-22, or was it that was a bit out of nowhere. I feel like it wasn't like the Warriors were, I don't know, have been a consistent in the finals team, the late career Steph. I felt like they are a team that can put together a run right now, and maybe they'll do it this year, but it hasn't been like they've been in the finals 6 straight years.
LeBron with the 10 finals.
I feel like the Warriors have come down a little bit off their peak with Durant. Like they were the dominant team of the 10s, and now they're sort of in the mix.
Dan is in California, a self-proclaimed Warriors fan, but likes LeBron in this argument of who's had a better late career.
Yeah, it's tough because, Curry's a one of a kind, and, he's broke all kind of records with his three-pointers, and he's fast as could be. But, LeBron is just a big, strong guy, and he was a grown man when he entered the NBA at age 18. And, Curry had those ankle problems his first 4 or 5 years you were talking about. He was kind of slight. Kobe Bryant was a skinny kid at 17 when he entered the NBA. I think all the wear and tear of being in all those finals and so many postseason games on LeBron,
it's a fair point. The fact that it hasn't, it's caught up to him, but not in the way anyone would have thought. Dan, thank you for the call. The amount of just they both played tons of playoff games, but LeBron, the amount of playoff games alone, LeBron has over 300 playoff games.
Crazy.
It's nuts. Let me see how many Curry has. Go ahead.
Well, I think Jordan, by the way, and to bring Jordan, definitely would have gotten one more if it wasn't for Jerry Krause and Jerry Reinsdorf. Because the following year, the very, very young Tim Duncan beat the Knicks in a strike-shortened year. he easily could have gone to 36, 37 with that Bulls team if they had kept it together. So his late career was, I know Washington was horrible.
Yeah.
It was terrible. But Jordan could have pushed it pretty late into his 30s and maybe done more. You have to remember, what jogged my memory on that bad ownership with Cleveland. I mean, let's not forget what happened at the end of Last Dance. Jerry Krause wanted to draft 2 high school kids. I mean, there was a lot going on there.
LeBron, 292 playoff games. Steph has 154. So, yeah, LeBron's played more postseason games. We're asking you who's had the better late career, LeBron, Steph Curry. Steph gets to continue to play because his team beat the Houston Rockets in Houston last night. LeBron now sitting home. We'll get you some LeBron quotes later on, what he had to say about Luka and a little more of the fallout from their first round exit.
I mean, I have to go back. Like, we're talking about it like the Warriors did anything. They haven't done anything this year. They beat a Rockets team that shouldn't.
It was a 2 seed.
Tell me about the Rockets. Yeah, they won 2 more games than the 7 seed. Tell me about the Rockets in 2 years. Curry hasn't done anything yet. Now he might, but I'm not going to give him flowers for going 7 games with Houston. You know, if he's that dominant, that he should be able to handle that team easily.
Well,
That's all
I mean,
I'm saying.
Draymond and the flagrants and everything in Game 6. It's just like
they were up 3-1 too. It's not like they
almost blew it.
Yeah, took the foot off the gas to let Houston back in the series.
And,
you're right. So
Draymond's
that he
antics are just, I mean, he held it together a little bit last night, but the Game 6 is just.
Van Vliet in the head one
No.
time.
That was ridiculous.
This guy is just like, it's so annoying to watch after all these years. I've always said, shut up! I'm like, does he have to play that way? And it's like, I get kind of.
I thought Kerr kind of did a number on Udoka last night too. I just felt like
the zone.
Yeah, the Kerr, to his credit, was he's calling timeouts in the middle of plays. Like, he was on it last night.
Well, every time the Warriors turned the ball over, Kerr was just like, timeout. I'm not letting this escalate.
By the way,
because when the Warriors start to get turnoveritis, it's pretty bad.
Your guy, Rick Carlisle, put on a coaching clinic yesterday.
So good.
He's excellent.
That was night and day. I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? Why do the Cavs look so uncomfortable? Great job by him.
Yeah, that was a great Game 1. Pacers steal that, but I don't want to step on Bogusch's update. Bogusch looking very festive today, and a happy Cinco de Mayo to you with your cool shirt on.
Celebrate, yeah. Completely, I think, made up American holiday.
Yeah, I was reading about the history of Cinco de Mayo. It was created by Corona.
Yeah, no, we were in Mexico for our honeymoon on Cinco de Mayo, and we woke up going like, "Let's go, huge day," and it was just a regular day.
All right, Manny, let him
Yeah,
have
Manny,
it.
help us. I was actually going to ask you what
Gringos.
is. Yeah,
yeah. This is rough. So today signifies the Battle of Puebla, which is just a state in Mexico. The French try invading us, and us, tiny little Mexicans with sticks and stones somehow defeated the French with their bullets and whatnot. But a popular misconception is that Cinco de Mayo is Independence Day. Right. It is not.
Nope. No.
That's in
I would never
September,
make that
people.
mistake.
Yeah, it's in September. It's not Independence Day. It's just a day that the French tried to invade us, and we said hell no, and that's why I speak Spanish and not French.
I was today years old when I learned that Cinco de Mayo is not Independence Day.
No.
Sorry, Manny.
Nope.
But here's the thing, Manny. What
Hispanic Heritage Month? Yeah, that's when all of our Independence Days are.
Yeah, right. We should have known.
So wait, why don't we celebrate Independence Day with parties and things?
Because it doesn't rhyme like Cinco de Mayo.
We
do, and we just do it in Mexico City. And in
yes, they do.
We in America.
Yeah,
because
we should.
Mexicans don't celebrate the 4th of July. Why would you guys celebrate the 16th
So
of
why
September?
are we celebrating Cinco de Mayo?
I don't, rhymes. Because people want an excuse to get drunk, to drink tequila and eat tacos.
Because we need good boxing matches in the first weekend of May.
They don't they don't know where Puebla
Canelo,
is.
baby.
They just hear free, discounted tacos and tequila, and I'm there, baby.
Why did you say we should? What do you mean we should?
What, celebrate Mexican Independence Day? Why not?
That's a good, I don't know.
But to Manny's point, I mean, it's not like they're setting off fireworks on July 4th down in, Mexico City. It's.
Well, we're setting off fireworks just for,
because it's Tuesday.
I wasn't going to say it. I don't know.
Are those fireworks?
Here's a question, though, for Manny. So, obviously, your mom's from Mexico.
That's right, yes.
So, Jalisco.
Yes, see.
Shout out. What do you do? Do you do anything on Cinco de Mayo? You treat it like a regular day?
Today is just Monday.
I've been there.
It's just Monday. It's just Monday in Jalisco, Mexico.
So Bogusch wearing his shirt with the skulls on it and the cacti and the sombreros. You're on board with this? You find this offensive?
Yeah, is it offensive?
I wouldn't say offensive, but I don't like it.
I'm not saying offensive.
Wait, Manny, I'm just curious. Would you take this excuse to go out tonight?
I am already going out tonight.
That's the man I know and love.
There you go.
I will be in the South Bronx tonight.
Oh, really? A little Yankee
yes,
game.
A little baseball action tonight.
During game one?
Yeah, it was bad planning on your boy's part.
How are you going to watch the Knicks?
My phone, girl.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
Or a bar at Yankee Stadium.
Oh, yeah. You can go to just Billy's and stand.
Go to the Yankee game to watch the Knicks game.
That sounds kind of fun, actually.
I was planning on wearing some Knicks paraphernalia. I'm not going to lie.
There you go.
Do you have a choice? 95% of your clothes are Knicks paraphernalia.
I have a Garrett Cole jersey.
Okay.
What'd you say, 95? The other 5% is Yankee stuff.
Right.
There was a guy sitting behind the Pacers bench wearing a Knicks sweatshirt, and I'm like, you don't have to do this, guy. Our day is tomorrow. What are you doing?
Oh, yeah, don't do that.
You got to take a video. Have someone take a video of you watching the Knicks game in the Yankees stands. That's going to be fun.
Okay, we'll
do it.
Yeah.
On Cinco de Mayo, of course, which is the biggest day of the year for you.
Oh, yeah. This is
honestly, though, I feel like that is one of the cooler
Christmas.
things to see is go to a sporting event when something bigger is happening.
Yeah.
I've been there. I've been to Knicks games when the Mets were playing actually it was the Yankees last year playing in the ALCS. And I hear Yankee just roars out of nowhere. And it's like, standing in a home run. And you see like a bunch of people just on their phones looking. It's like, they're not even watching this October regular season game.
That is awesome. Or it goes up on the big board like the team wins. And, that is amazing.
Other alternative, the Yankees are losing 8-0 to the Padres tonight, and the Knicks are losing by 25 to the Celtics.
Yeah, and then it's just double pain.
Let's not speak that into existence.
Jeez, man, it's not even 7 a.m. here on the East Coast. Let's try for a little optimism. Bogusch is here with the latest headlines. What's up?
These headlines are sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Your small business keeps you on the go. Progressive Commercial Insurance keeps your policy within reach with our easy-to-use mobile app. Learn more at progressivecommercial.com. That's Steph Curry and Draymond Green were very good at knocking a previous version of the Rockets out of the playoffs, doing it 4 times in a 5-year stretch, I believe. Fred VanVleet said these Rockets ain't that team before this first round series began. And then Golden State sent them home 103-89 in Game 7 in Houston last night. So Draymond got to respond to ain't that team.
It's that organization, though. And we like coming to this city and playing in these situations. It's been good to us.
Draymond, 16 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 blocks last night.
It's like the beginning of Thriller. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Steph Curry scored 14 fourth-quarter points, and Buddy Hield put 33 on Houston, hitting 12 of his 15 shots, including 9 threes.
Being in the zone is very spiritual. It's just you and that rim and the net and the ball, and you just frigging it out. And sometimes you put anything up and it just goes in.
I wouldn't know. 33 points after going scoreless in Game 6.
By the way, Draymond is he going to start a fight against the T-Wolves? What's going to happen in the next round? He's on a trajectory towards total mayhem in this
and
next
the
series.
T-Wolves can't stand him.
Yes.
They have a long beef when he tried to choke out Rudy Gobert from a couple years ago.
Draymond's got beef with everybody, and it feels like Rudy Gobert's kind of got beef.
And don't forget Jimmy Butler coming to Minnesota. I've seen many Minnesota Timberwolves fans online saying we have not forgotten.
I feel like, though, that gives the Warriors a mental edge because Jimmy and Draymond, these guys they often go up to the line.
Draymond has crossed the line
he's also won 4 titles, so he's gotten to the line. Like could
have been 5 if he didn't kick LeBron in the.
I think that's the big debate. Can he be an irritant to the point of not getting kicked out of the game?
He cannot.
I think he might be able to. I think he's going to get in the head of the T-Wolves.
And it's always everybody else.
Because the T-Wolves also are hot-headed. Yeah. They got their own hotheads. You don't think Julius Randle can be manipulated? I totally do.
Yes.
Oh, be manipulated. I was going to say.
I can confirm.
Julius is not going to be the tough guy. Not that he's not tough, but he's not going to be the one starting fights and stuff. That would be Gobert and Draymond.
You get into his head, he starts turning the ball over. He gets
starts
getting
dribbling
frustrated with himself. Oh, I've seen it too many times. I digress.
Now to that Game 1 last night for the Cavs and Pacers. Indy, the upset on the road, 121-112. Tyrese Halliburton, 22 points and 13 assists, which led to another 34 points, but also played some fourth-quarter defense, including blocking a Max Strus 3.
Coach Carlisle and the staff have really been on me to, take a step on that end of the floor, and I'm just trying to be solid, and they got a lot of great players, a lot of great one-on-one guys, so I'm just trying to make it tough and just be solid.
Same voice, yeah.
Cleveland's first loss of the postseason. They again played without injured point guard Darius Garland. He's got that bad toe injury. The 2027 NFL Draft reportedly will be in Washington, D.C., likely on the National Mall near the Washington Monument.
Yeah. You didn't see this?
Wow. No, I did not see that.
Oh, yeah.
Jaden Daniels.
President Trump's going to announce it today.
Yeah.
Very cool.
That was your, Jaden Daniels voice. Yeah. It's great. It's going to be such
Jaden Daniels.
an amazing backdrop. I'm actually surprised. Well, I shouldn't be. Daniel Snyder was the owner, so of course they weren't going to reward him with Jack, and they shouldn't. It's going to be one of the best visuals.
Right.
Like Lambeau was amazing. The crowd, Philly was great. I mean, all of these have been awesome.
Yeah,
this is going to be very different.
This is the first one where I kind of want to go. I've never been into really like the outdoor, like it looks fine, but like it's not my cup of tea. This one, I'm like, that seems like something I want to go to.
And think about it. If you are into DC, like the Cherry Blossom Festival is right around this time. Like this is peak tourism time in our nation's capital. Late April.
Now, wait, I think the cherry blossoms might be gone.
Oh, they actually might be gone. That might be more of like a early April, late March.
Yeah, we're going to have to look at the foliage report.
I'm staying away from this because we got yelled at last week for not knowing the distance between RFK and FedEx and all those places. So you guys can handle the DC conversation.
I got yelled at. You guys acted like I was... Any little mistake, you got yelled at because you made it a huge deal. They're 2 miles away.
We actually did not at all make it a big deal. You said they were neighbors, and we just said, no, they're 2 miles apart, and that was it. And then we got an angry tweet.
I'm familiar with the south of
Wait,
DC.
I thought you said we got yelled at a lot. How many people yelled at us?
We got at least one angry tweet.
One person.
I read it.
I did read it too.
Yeah, I felt it.
I said, sorry,
I
DMV,
hate your shirt,
DMV guy or Del Mar.
I mean, and it wasn't us. That was a Perloff exclusive.
Yeah. Oh, my God. You guys are ridiculous.
This is going to be awesome, though. The draft on the National Mall, that's going to be really cool.
I'm out now. I'm out now just because I don't like you guys. Every little, you caught me on a factual error. It's like, that's Bogusch' Cinco de Mayo.
Here's the thing, though. You do pride yourself on being the traffic guy. You know, you're always know what's going on. You're driving to San Antonio. You were right about the fact that going to Chicago doesn't actually add that much more time. We were stunned, but you were right about that.
I also assume you were correct, by the way, when you said it. I didn't even fight you on it. And then I looked it up. I was like, oh, it's like a 10-minute drive.
Yeah.
Caitlin Clark was back on a WNBA court yesterday, an exhibition game back at Iowa, her college, against the Brazilian national team. Clark,
that was a close game, right?
16 points and 5 assists over 3 quarters. It ended tightly, 108-44.
Oh, dear God.
Again in the preseason game. Game 7 on ice in Winnipeg. The Jets scored with 3 seconds left in regulation to force OT. Then beat the Blues in the second extra period, 4-3, and a goal from Adam Lowry. Now game 1 with Dallas on Wednesday.
Wow, Jets win.
And the Braves held off the Dodgers 4-3 on Sunday Night Baseball in Atlanta. That avoids a 3-game sweep this weekend and a 6-game season sweep by LA. Guys, back to you.
Bogusch, thank you very much.
Jets win was a funny one. And knowing EJ.
Yeah, savor it. It's the Winnipeg Jets, but if you want to claim that as your New York Jets, just to get a little taste.
Oh, you want a spring football game.
A big playoff win for the Jets.
Finally. Okay, we've got a lot to do, including somebody who has now cemented themselves on the Mount Rushmore of chokers. It's the Maggie Perloff Show.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Manny discovers Wham. Welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Okay, we'll get back to the Warriors. Our question today is whether LeBron or Steph Curry has had a better late career, like post 35. Who do you got there? So you can go to @Maggie and Pearl and you can go vote. But Pearl, going back to Saturday night, I know you saw this. It was another Game 7 blowout. Last night, it was the Warriors blowing out the Rockets. And Saturday night, it was the Nuggets blowing out the Clippers. And stop me if you've heard it, a James Harden no-show. Yeah. 7 points, 2 for 8 shooting. He was a minus 29 in this game.
Yeah, no surprise. Somebody called that on Friday's show. Listen.
Taking a victory lap over this one?
Not really, because it was so obvious that it was going to happen. Like anybody who's ever seen 9 minutes of James Harden basketball could have seen that was coming. To me, this is not just choking, because I'm hearing choking a lot.
Okay.
I think stylistically, his kind of play, it's tough to win 4 games in a really, really competitive series because he's so ball dominant that eventually that catches up to you and people adjust to James Harden. So that's the other thing, too. He's got all these weird little left-handed moves. I think seeing him 7 games in a row, you can sort of get into a sort of lane where you can figure him out. I think that's so part of it is stylistic. James Harden's amazing in the regular season, but you only see him once or 2 or 3 times a season. Once you see him 5 or 6 nights in a row, you figure him out to some extent.
But can I ask you that?
Yeah.
He was great in Game 6 of this series. So why couldn't the Nuggets do, Game 6 for James Harden? To be fair to him, was a great game for him. He was awesome. You're like, wow, maybe these narratives are going to die. If he's so predictable by the time you've seen him this late in the series, how is he able to have a good game in Game 6 and then this terrible game in Game 7?
I mean, how many times has he put together 5 good games in a series? Trust me, I watch him a lot with the Sixers. Like, he'll have good games, but it's just, and at some point, it always falls apart. So you think it's just the pressure of Game 7?
I think so. Yeah, I
Game
think it's in
6
his head.
He's been pretty bad, right, historically.
So, here's the thing about Harden, right? I think there's something, it's not just, it's elimination games where he has not been good, right. Where he's been more bad than good. Let's put it that way. But as far as this, to me, it's got to be in his head. It's got to be. Because there's no reason, and I know you think that his MVP is Fugazi and you don't like it, but he won an MVP and was runner-up 3 other different times, right? Came in second. He's going to go down as one of the great players. I know you don't like it, but he is going to go down as one of the great players ever, top 50 for sure, and I'm sure maybe even higher than that. He's got this incredible resume, but no one can explain really these Game 7s. Where's the triumph story, right? It's just not there for somebody of his caliber, and I think it's gotta be in his head. I don't have another explanation.
He's been bad in Game 6s too, just to be
clear. There have been some bad Game 6s.
Generally his stats are way lower in the second half of a series than the first half of a series.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah, so also too, I'd question his fitness as well. I don't think that's an unfair question in the history of James Harden.
Yeah, but again, he was great in Game 6. So, I don't know. Can I just say that all
he
of a
was
sudden
good
he was
in this
bad?
Game 6. He wasn't the most dominant James Harden we've ever seen.
He's, so record, 10-15 in elimination games through his NBA career, but he's 2-11 in the last 13. So, at least that's what I'm seeing. It's been not great. Manny, can we hear some Ty Lue, please? Ty Lue actually encouraged by what Harden and Kawhi Leonard can do together.
Yeah, just encouraging. I think, James having to carry such a heavy load, with Kawhi missing, I think, 45 games. And just having to carry that load, all season long. And he did a great job with that. And I think Kawhi, like I said, coming back, being Kawhi and having a confidence in his knee that he can play more minutes, he can get through these games. And those two together for a whole season, I think would be tremendous.
Well, you're not getting that.
Yeah, that's a nice fantasy.
Feels like a pipe dream to think you're going to get a whole season from these guys. Does James Harden, in your opinion, belong on a Mount Rushmore of chokers one was on there? But you're saying it's stylistic.
Well, he's I don't know how you define chokers. Maybe not, because of course he's going to lose these Game 7s. To quote, it's Doc Rivers nailed it. You always know where the ball is when James Harden's on the other team. So that's a huge advantage to the defense. You can save a lot of energy in the series because you don't really have to cover anybody except him. So I do think it's stylistic, but he's also a choker too. I will give you that. If there's a Mount Rushmore of chokers, I think it's fair to put him on there.
With Greg Norman? I think Greg Norman...
Norman's the famous name there.
You guys have been kind that we've gone as many minutes into this segment and no one has brought up my Buffalo Bills. I don't
But
think...
you have to be close to choke, and they were close in one of those.
Also, who's the individual that choked? I feel like that's a team choke.
Go Bills.
Yeah, you could go.
Offense.
I saw Jim Kelly on a choker list, and I didn't think that was really fair necessarily.
I think 2 of the Super Bowls, they actually, the ones against the Cowboys, they were just really severely overmatched.
Yeah. But
so
also
I don't know if I consider that a choke.
You had Elway's Broncos being even worse than they were. And,
I know, but Elway got the 2.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It feels like a lot of these quote unquote chokers eventually do win. So it feels like Harden.
Not the Vikings and not the Bills.
Yeah, but again, what individual from those teams are you singling out? Where it feels like with Harden and Norman, like they're on a Mount Rushmore of 2.
Scott Norwood.
Also,
you put Norwood there, but that's one terrible moment, you know?
Yeah. There's also the one-time chokers like Chris Webber calling the timeout or whatever.
Yeah.
Which is not
John Van Velde, those kind
not
of things.
a body of work.
It would have been Rory if he hadn't won the Masters a month ago. I think
Missing that putt.
Totally.
Last year missing the putt. Yeah, he definitely
This
would have been
year
high
missing
up
the
there.
putt, but luckily got to go into a playoffs
Such
and
a
won
good
it.
point.
How about Kyle Shanahan?
Kyle Shanahan
Yeah.
getting up there. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. We'll talk more about that coming up. We've got more details in the infamous meeting between Shedeur Sanders and Brian Daboll. What actually happened?
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Is it possible that this whole thing was one big misunderstanding? Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. We get back to the Warriors and our question today, who's having a better late career, Steph Curry or LeBron James? You can go vote at Maggie and Pearl on X. But Pearl, possible this whole thing was a big mix-up. And what I'm talking about is Shedeur Sanders and the now infamous meeting between him and the New York Giants. Brian Daboll will tell anybody who listened, whether it was Todd McShay or Albert Breer, we're going to play you some sound from Albert in a second, how bad the meeting went between Daboll and Shedeur Sanders, okay? It's become like a thing of legend at this point of how bad it was because for so long, people thought the Giants may be interested in Shedeur Sanders. They were clearly doing their due diligence. All the Colorado games they attended, bringing him back around for another meeting and some late meetings pretty late in the process. They seemed interested.
Yeah, by the way, you said that Daboll was telling anybody who listened. The Giants said anybody who was with an earshot that they loved Shedeur coming in the draft. Ian Rappaport, they even told Ian Rappaport we're looking at him at 3 overall. So I think it's funny you say that because the Giants were messaging, we love this kid again and again and again and again. And the fact that that was in the public.
Right.
And then behind the scenes, I guess it was the exact opposite, but I still have trouble believing that's the whole story.
Well, it kind of feels like it did come down to maybe this meeting because they went to dinner. We never heard anything that weird happened there. We never heard that anything in like a background check turned up anything. It just all feels like it's about this meeting, and Brian Daboll and Shedeur Sanders just did not see eye to eye on something. So here's Albert Breer. He was talking on, is this EEI, WEI? Explaining how the Shedeur Sanders New York Giants meeting went sideways.
The Giants won, so there was they give players an install, and there are mistakes intentionally put in the install, and he didn't catch them and got called on it, and it didn't go well after that. There was another team that he sat down with.
What do you mean it didn't go well after that?
So, he was pissed that they did that to him. They did that to him.
Okay, I'm sorry, 98.5, the Sports Hub in Boston. So the Giants intentionally put wrong things into the install, and that irked Shedeur because he didn't understand that it was wrong. Essentially, they're calling him out for not studying their playbook. More from Breer. Maybe that just said, hey, maybe this just isn't a fit.
Another one was, he throws a bad interception, and it was a deep throw early in the game, and he comes back and they go in the meeting, they show the interception, and they say, what happened here? Well, I like to get into a rhythm earlier in the game, and they get into it over that, and his conclusion is, well, maybe I'm not a fit for you.
And that was a different team, right? That was not necessarily the Giants, but the Giants' infamous meeting was about having something incorrect in the install. Shedeur Sanders didn't catch it, kind of implied that he didn't study, and Shedeur got upset about it, and that ultimately led to them not taking him.
Yeah, it's interesting. It sounds like something out of a movie. They were testing him to see how he would react by getting something wrong, and at least, we weren't there. So Shedeur, I'm implying the right way would have been to be like, oh, my bad, I didn't see this, and maybe he could have had the right answer. Because I think that's a quality to admit your mistakes and not keep on doubling back and trying to defend them. That's how I read that. I'm like, oh, even if Shedeur, if it's a insult on the way he's studying, even if Shedeur had said, oh my gosh, my bad, I didn't notice it, he could have answered that a different way and maybe not turned off the Giants.
Sure.
Isn't that how you read it? Or
So, well, now I'm thinking that maybe this thing could have been a little bit, I don't want to say a misunderstanding, but maybe they just sort of both were trying to be kind of alpha here. And Brian Daboll has said he is really tough in these meetings. He's the type of guy who is not coming in, hey, welcome, come and sit down. He really tries to trip these dudes up. Like, he'll have them be on the whiteboard and then have them erase it, then ask about what the assistant equipment manager's name is, and then, name five teammates who are all walk-ons. Now go back onto the board and do this. Like, he's trying to intentionally trip them up. And I think that in some kind, so that can be like, he's clearly trying to do a thing. He's trying to get guys off their game. And it seems like Shedeur kind of maybe took the bait a little bit.
Yep.
But here's the thing. We generally like it when guys are a little edgy. Quarterback and coach relationship, this is sometimes rewarded when guys are kind of yelling at each other. Look at Bo Nix and Sean Payton on the sidelines at times this year. They kind of go back and forth a little bit or have a little bit of an angsty, edgy relationship. That at times has been seen as a good quality in a quarterback. Like, hey, I care about this also so much that I'm going to stand my ground or whatever it is. I know Shedeur's at a job interview and trying to be a rookie, but this is not always seen as a negative to come in and have a little edge to
well,
it.
in Shedeur's case, I think it is a negative because I said early in the draft process, the biggest flaw with Shedeur was when he called out his offense after the loss to Nebraska. It's the ultimate non-quarterback move is to blame others. So I think they probably wanted to test that. Does this kid want to take accountability? And my reading of this interview is he was not so into accountability. The answer would have been, oh, I got this wrong. I'll get it right next time. That's sort of quarterback speak. So it's almost a militaristic position.
Sure.
The opposite, kind of the opposite of what you said, especially in this job interview, says they want the ultimate team guy, a quarterback, a guy who's going to take accountability. The quote unquote right quarterback answer after a loss is it was 100% on me. Even if you lost 57-51, it was me. I made mistakes.
Right.
That's what teams want out of quarterbacks. It's kind of a leadership position. Maybe that stuff is all corny, but I think teams believe it.
Here's the other thing about why I don't know if Daboll is going to end up coming out of this looking amazing here. Shedeur, I don't think, is in a great spot in Cleveland. You and I have disagreed about this, about whether or not he can actually succeed or even showcase his skills there to go to another team or what's going to happen. But Brian Daboll already has an L with Daniel Jones. I don't know if he was the only one who picked Daniel Jones, but I'm not even saying picked over Saquon Barkley. Y'all decided to give Daniel Jones $40 million. That was a gigantic mistake. Everyone knew it. You passed on what was an all-time quarterback class. Now, this is also Shane, like Joe Shane, the GM, to take Malik Neighbors, and Neighbors is fine. But now you're sticking your neck out with Jackson Dart. So now you've done that thing where you've traded back into the first round, and I know you think back into the first round means no expectations. The expectation that he's the franchise quarterback. It's not Russell Wilson.
Franchise?
Yes. It's a first round. Dude, was Kenny Pickett thought of as being a franchise? You're bringing him in to be the starter.
It's definitely. I feel like franchise quarterback Jackson Dart feels rich to me, but please go ahead.
Well, this is what I'm saying. You've staked yourself in a season where you guys were both on the hot seat, the GM and the coach. Daboll's supposed to be the quarterback whisperer, worked at Alabama with great quarterbacks. Josh Allen, obviously, bumped him up a lot when he was the OC in Buffalo. Brian Daboll's not in the clear here. If Shedeur ends up having a really good career or a better career than Jackson Dart, Daboll's the one who's going to look bad, no?
Well, let me ask you a question, though. First of all, they got Abdul Carter first, so I think that takes some of the heat off. But secondly, what about the other 31 teams that passed on Shedeur? I mean, it's not like they passed on him in 3 and he went 4. He went 144. That's 141 picks later.
I'll tell you why. Because nobody put their name on it but Daboll. And I'll tell you, some people
Daboll
like that.
never put his name on it.
Well, Todd McShay coming out and saying that Brian Daboll told me the meeting went bad is as close to putting your name on it as possible, right? We know that they're friends. Daboll's the one who's kind of owned it. And to be fair, you might like that. Hey, don't cower and be an anonymous, kind of thing. He did tell these insiders who he knows are going to run to their podcasts, this didn't go well with Shedeur.
We don't know for sure that was Daboll who told Breer. Did Breer ever say that? No, I don't think this is exactly like going into a press conference and ripping the kid. But go ahead. Anyway, so why is I just don't think
walked it back.
Dable
Let's
is the
put it
face
that
of,
way.
So how come New Orleans isn't guilty? How come all these other teams? There were 6 or 7 teams that needed quarterbacks, so it's all on the Giants.
I think in this instance it is because the Giants decided to trade up for Jackson Dart. The New Orleans Saints didn't do that. They stuck and took Tyler Shuck. I think that, and because what you were just talking about, which is how they declared this public love for Shedeur that didn't really feel like a smokescreen until at the end they decided to go with Jackson Dart.
It's just a little funny that they become the face of the team that pass on him when everybody else passed on him through 5 rounds.
Yeah.
There's obviously the NFL viewed him the same way the Giants did.
Well, not everyone needed a quarterback, though. Like, it was a very obvious need. There appeared to be a fit, and then, also I think this other part.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone thinks that Jackson Dart's a sure thing. So,
Well, I think also a lot of teams could have drafted him. You're in backup territory. There are a lot of quarterbacks who went ahead of Shedeur. The Cleveland took somebody ahead of him.
No, I know. Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah, I think that I was actually wondering, oh my God, are the Eagles going to take Shedeur Sanders? Like, there are very few teams. In the 4th round, everybody could have taken a flyer on him as a backup. So I think the NFL spoke out that they were closer to Dable's camp than Shedeur's camp.
You're right. But again, I'm just wondering, like, was this such a deal breaker? If indeed this was the deal breaker, the details that we got of this meeting didn't go well because Shedeur's got kind of upset because Brian Daboll did a tricky thing and he reacted to it. Is that like a federal case? I mean, that's not the only thing. Clearly, there's a lot that goes into the stew, but there has been much made about this now infamous meeting, and
Definitely.
It's only going to get and grow and grow.
But the funny thing is, if they had taken Shedeur Sanders at number 3, that probably would go down as the worst draft pick in NFL history because they overdrafted him by 141 spots.
Well, we wouldn't have known that at the time, though. We just would have said all those mock drafters were right.
I'm just saying that they could have, I would have called Dable and said, you can wait on this guy. And when I say you can wait on him, you can wait 3 days on this guy. Number 3.
Go take 5.
I do think that, by the way, he
500.
fell. Just one clarification. He fell in the 5th round because people didn't want all that sizzle as a backup. He could have easily gone where Dylan Gabriel went in the 3rd round, but people were like, I'm not bringing in this circus as a backup. So everyone passed on him as starter. I think you're right. Dable is going to be the face of this, but why would if Tyler Shuck is bad, which you would expect because he's a 2nd-round quarterback, most of them do not hit, then how come people aren't going to call out the Saints? And by the way, Shedeur could be better than Cam Ward. We have no idea. It's the Titans. They don't, yeah.
I know that's EJ's quarterback.
But it's a Titans, EJ. You have to admit, this is not exactly a recipe for success.
That's true.
Brian Callahan, is that your man?
No, Cam is my man.
I know. Cam should be good.
I'm not claiming anyone else on that Titans.
Was this much ado about nothing, EJ, with the infamous now Shedeur Brian Daboll meeting?
I think it's something, but it does make me wonder. It goes back to, again, like, who was in Shedeur's camp. Because it feels like this is something that he should have been ready for. Like, it does sound like to me a misunderstanding. And a misunderstanding could easily turn into a beef or turn into an issue and blow up. Because if he's upset that they put something in him to make him look bad, like, he probably wasn't expecting to look bad. He was preparing for something totally different. So my question to him would be, what were you actually expecting in this meeting?
Right, because it does seem like most people knew this was one of Daboll's kind of tricks, tactics. Like, he does like to trip guys up. It's just how he operates.
We saw that
in these
Hard Knocks. On Hard Knocks, he's doing all these questions. He's like, wait a minute, go back to the first play I drew up and drew it again. Like, we know what he does. So, when we go back to, again, like, he didn't have a real agent. He didn't have a real team. Like, it felt like he was acting as if he was the number 1 pick in the draft when clearly he wasn't. He would have needed more work to do, and he didn't do that, and that's frustrating.
The irony is he has a lot of people around him, it seems, not the right people for the draft process.
Well, I mean, nobody has ever in the history of college football had more NFL coaches working with him than Shedeur Sanders. He had like 10 guys on his staff with NFL experience. How come Pat Shurmur didn't call him and say this is happening? Pat Shurmur was the Giants coach.
He was.
How come he didn't help him?
I know. It's
that
bizarre.
didn't end well, by the way. Like, it's funny to me. People are like, oh, yeah, Pat Shurmur, the Giants. I mean, whatever they said publicly, Pat Shurmur it wasn't like the most dramatic of blow-ups of anything, but I was working in New York at the time. They basically showed him the door after 2.5 seasons.
Yeah. I shudder every time I hear his name.
To be honest, if they had kept him, Daniel Jones had some of his best games under him. And then Joe Judge came, and it really all went away. But here and now Daboll. But I don't know. I'm wondering. It's now we're kind of set up here. It's like Daboll and Jackson Dart versus Shedeur. My biggest thing with Shedeur now. That's one read. My biggest thing with Shedeur now is, did the message get through?
Yeah, that's a great question.
He says it, it did, but he also he's never going to drop the confidence. And I'm not saying he should, but it's like, did that message get through? Like, are you going to really take accountability, or do you think that the NFL was out to get you, or this was about your dad, or something else? Like, do you think you got railroaded, or are you willing to say, I got to change some things?
Excuse this very nerdy analogy, but it feels like Shedeur is like Thor from Thor 1, where he was expecting everything handed to him. And when he was not prepared for the role, he was stripped of all of the things that make him famous, right? Being number one, being a superstar, being highly regarded. And now he's being sent to what is basically the Oklahoma of America in Thor, Cleveland. And it's like, you're a fourth string guy. And you got to now earn your way to being the star you think you are. Right. Just like Thor had to earn his way to being Thor again. And it feels like this is basically exactly what's happening with Shedeur Sanders.
Every great quarterback, I totally agree with that, has an origin story or a humbling experience. Go down the list of Hall of Fame quarterbacks. They all either got benched in college or didn't make a college team. Like, I agree. It's not an accident that Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, all these guys had horrible backstories, horrible football backstories.
Right.
Tom Brady got benched in college.
Yeah.
He's the greatest of all time. Patrick Mahomes was a 3-star. Like, I think Shedeur needed that. Now, Shedeur was also not that big of a recruit and went to Jackson State. But when your dad is
he only went to Jackson State to go with Deion.
Right. Like, I think EJ's onto something. This connection to Deion has sheltered him from adversity. So now he's got adversity, and like, we'll see if he's got the grit. It's a great question, Maggie. Will he learn from this? I think he might.
Where did Thor have to go? I'm sorry. Oklahoma.
Yeah.
All right.
Oklahoma,
well, that's a football hotbed.
With no power. Yeah, well, the problem, he wasn't a football player. With no hammer.
Had potential, though.
Yeah, but then Thor got fat by the end, though. He turned it to Embiid.
Or Harden Game 7.
Or Harden.
Yeah. That analogy I understand. I didn't understand any of the other stuff that EJ said.
We should catch a movie, Maggie.
Maybe. But, I'm assuming that this set up as the big redemption for Thor.
Right.
We get the, training montage.
Thor had to learn, essentially, humility.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't humble. He was the son of Odin, so therefore he was just supposed to be king and just supposed to be crowned. And then when he wasn't, he had to go back to literally rock bottom.
But by the way, he had an evil brother. Is Shiloh Loki in this situation?
Or maybe Deion Sanders Jr. is Loki. He keeps filming him
during these terrible moments.
Filming getting Frank called and filming him doing all this other stuff. Maybe
and let's not forget Shiloh.
As bad as Shedeur's week has been, Shiloh's the opposite. He is so charming. I saw another interview with him. He's going to get
his
a media career out of this.
His top 5 safeties of all time.
No, I didn't see that.
Ryan Clark was number 2. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, Shiloh has got a lot of personality.
He is not a great football player.
Actually, I kind of like Shiloh. You guys don't like? I thought Shiloh was effective. He's crazy out there.
He's effective at getting 15-yard penalties.
Yeah,
I know that.
It reminds me of the old
Eagles player.
yeah.
I love it. I mean, Drew Rosenhaus is now his agent.
I bet you Shiloh makes it in the NFL. I think he does because he's a human missile. He's got all the grit that Shedeur doesn't have. He will.
Shedeur's tough. We just don't know if he's going to take accountability. But the dude always gets up.
I'm sorry. Did you say Shiloh in the CFL?
I think Shiloh makes it because he's just going to lead with his helmet. You need a guy who's going to get some penalties out there.
Dude, Drew Rosenhaus, it's not David Copperfield. He can't just magically make him a better player.
No, I show bet. I think Shiloh has an NFL career.
Well, what does that mean?
Yeah, for an undrafted guy, I think he has 5 or 6 years in the NFL, which is an accomplishment for an undrafted guy.
Definitely.
All right. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Shedeur versus Brian Daboll. Who would you be backing in this situation? What horse are you backing there? Coach Daboll, New York Giants, trading up for Jackson Dart, or do you think Shedeur gets the final say here? Both could be in totally different cities next year.
Very true.
I wonder if they'd ever reunite. Seems unlikely. 888-710-4ISN.
Toronto
Wow, do we have a
Argos.
lot to do today. We have some fun Aaron Rodgers updates for you. We would never shortchange you on that. We've got some changes going on with the Dallas Cowboys.
Don't be a freaking weirdo.
That you need to know about, and some LeBron James sound as well. It's all here for you on the Maggie and Perloff Show. Don't move.
Shedeur.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie Perloff Show. Maggie, I got into a little social media tip this weekend.
Oh, I totally missed it. What happened?
I got in a little bit of an argument about Drew Aller, the Penn State quarterback.
Okay.
So our good friend, Steve Palazzolo from the 33rd team, formerly Pro Football Focus, was sending out highlights of Drew Aller and asking the internet what they thought of him as a quarterback.
Okay.
And there was this highlight reel that went everywhere where he is just running around, throwing darts 40 yards downfield.
Yeah.
But there was a lot missing, like the Notre Dame game where he couldn't hit the ocean. So, and I said, like, wait, what kind of highlight reel is this? There's tons
Notre Dame's
missing.
defense was amazing this year, but yes,
I mean,
I'm sorry.
come on.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So Drew Aller was super hot and cold. And then EJ told me that there was an insider who had him way at the top of the draft. I don't see it. I think all the quarterbacks who did not come out this year looked at this draft and said, if I'm going to be a top pick, I would have gone out. Like Cade Klubnik's been around. Drew Aller's been around. Those guys, I believe, both could have gone pro. They didn't go pro because the NFL was not that into him yet. They need another year. So I don't think that there's this idea that Drew Aller is some generational guy who just held back because he wants to play one more year at Penn State under James Franklin. That just doesn't compute with me.
Well, okay, we have the sound, but it still could be a miscalculation from Aller. Unless you think the NFL, he put the feelers out, because didn't he say very, very early on, I'm going back to Penn State? Because remember Bo Prabula, who was the backup, who looked pretty good when he got in some spots this season, transferred before the college football playoff started. So I think Drew Aller made it very clear what he was doing. We have got the sound for you. This is Dane Brugler from The Athletic talking about Penn State quarterback Drew Aller.
It's a pretty exciting quarterback class next year. There's not like a Caleb Williams or a Drake May where it's like, oh, there's an obvious number one guy, but there's a lot of talent at quarterback. And it's funny, Drew Aller is one of them from Penn State. If Drew Aller would have declared, he probably would have been the number 2 pick to his hometown Browns.
That's ridiculous to me. If he thought he was going to be number 2 pick, why would he have not gone in the draft?
Well, it turns out the Browns weren't making that pick at 2. Turns out they never were. Maybe they would have for Drew Aller. They traded out of it, obviously, and traded Travis Hunter to the Jags. But I guess that's just like
I'd be
detail.
surprised. Because we all watched Drew Aller, and he's a Penn State fan. He's so hot and cold. I just don't think, and his numbers aren't that great. He just doesn't feel like a clear number 2 overall. Maybe he's like Cam Ward and takes off in his senior year, but I was surprised to hear that piece of analysis.
Yeah, I didn't think of him as the second best quarterback in college this year. I wasn't thinking that. A lot of people, I think, believe that their college football playoff path was a little, I would say, easy. Nothing is easy, but the fact that you got SMU at home and then you got to go play Boise and then you lost to Notre Dame.
Yeah, and he didn't really do that much in those games. He was good, but not great. I think part of it is he was the number 1 overall recruit. He's big. He's tall. He's like kind of the classic NFL stereotype quarterback because he's 6'4".
I do want to give him a little bit of a, oh, wow. Let's do the team building thing. He didn't have anyone to throw passes to besides Ty Warren, who obviously was a first-round pick, so he's a huge talent. But that was the major theme with Penn State this year is they had no receivers. I mean, he only has one game last year where he threw for over 300 yards. In college football, guys roll out of bed and throw for 300 yards most cases.
I don't really understand what you're saying.
But this is 2 years in a row where he hasn't thrown for that much. Yeah. I guess possibly a good excuse. I just think that we're squinting now to see these quarterbacks as elite. But honestly, if this is true, why would Drew Aller not have gone? He went to Penn State. It's pretty close to Cleveland. He's from
it's his hometown,
Medina, Ohio. Why not? I think that if he thought he was going to go that high, and this was a weak quarterback class.
This was the year to do it.
Yeah, I was wondering. I think Klubnik can double check me. He was eligible too. Cade Klubnik, the Clemson quarterback. I'm like, well, why isn't he going in? He must not be getting good ideas from the NFL because this was not a great draft. The fact that we only had Cam Ward going high in the first round means, hey, they did not view this quarterback class favorably.
Wait, this whole thing started though with you saying you got into internet back and forth.
No, I was mad at Palazzolo for
Okay.
tweeting out this. I'm like, dude, you got to show the bad games too. He is not that quarterback that you're seeing in this highlight reel.
So
now,
does
listen,
this mean we can't have Steve on the show anymore? Like, how bad did this
no,
get online?
actually, it was the replies. Steve actually said, Steve put out the question, what do you think of this guy? He put out a completely neutral tweet.
Yeah.
And I said, I think he's good, but I think the highlights you're showing are for YouTube scouts and not NFL teams.
A little biased.
Strike it from the record.
Yes.
Perloff wants to see the lowlights.
No, I mean, listen, I'm as big a YouTube scout as anybody, but I have a general draft take, and tell me if you guys agree. I'm finding it annoying that when the pick is made, every guy is the best guy for that team and everybody's going to be a superstar. Why don't they add more negativity into the first round coverage of the NFL draft? It feels like a promotion, an ad. I just think that it's 2025. Can we stop with this guy is going to be amazing? Can anybody call out the bus or at least try?
Well, it's funny because that's why I liked watching Bill Belichick last year on the Pat McAfee show simulcast because he was actually saying what he thinks. The problem was he was really picking at Drake May, who looks like he's probably going to be in 100 Pro Bowls coming up soon.
But I was watching the fourth round, the second day, and there were guys, Kuiper was like, oh my gosh, this fifth round pick, he is fast, he is strong, they have got a superstar winner here. And most fourth round picks do nothing. But according to the draft, they're all going to be great.
I noticed that too. Like the comp player was like a Pro Bowler. I'm like, how is the guy in the fourth round then? He's Aaron Donald and he's with pick 194.
It's a steal, Bogusch.
Yeah, I don't get it.
It's called work in the draft.
It feels like we've evolved to the point where I think the analysts have to take a shot and say, you know what? I think this is a bad pick. Kuiper famously did it in, what year was that, 85 or something? He came after the Colts, but then the NFL came down so hard on him that nobody else has done it since. I want to see this guy stinks. I would like to see more of that.
Well, maybe the NFL shouldn't be so heavy-handed.
And I guess they feel like it's these guys' big moments when they get drafted. So, do you want their draft moment to be, this guy's going to be a bust? I agree with Perloff, by the way. I would be ruthless.
You know what bothers me about that?
Mel Kiper, in a way.
This is the guy's moment thing, is when a guy has been, accused of serious things, right? This happened with Jameis Winston when he went number one overall. People are like, why are they asking questions about this? It's ruining his moment. It's like, well, he found himself in this terrible situation.
Brandon Miller a couple years ago. That was a huge deal in the NBA.
That was a huge one. Remember, people went after Malika Andrews like she was,
my God, it's a perfect example.
The biggest villain in the world because she was simply stating the facts. It's like, how dare you rain on this guy's moment? It's like, well, he may have ruined somebody's life. So I don't know what you want to do here.
I would argue, too, those guys already have $10 million in the bank, so they don't need the moment as bad as they do now in the NIL era. I know that nobody wants to hear that, but as bad as things are with Shedeur, the guy has a Rolls Royce and $25 million in the bank.
Who in the hell is Mel Kiper, in a way?
NBA, by the way, too, is because it's much more speculative. These guys are 19 years old. EJ, would you agree that there is a place where negativity really belongs? I'd like to hear, this is not a good pick.
Yeah, you don't hear it enough. I do feel like I think they do a little bit of a better job to being like their favorite word is this guy's a project or this guy
2 years away from being 2 years away.
Right.
Yes,
that's your eye to be
euphemism.
This isn't probably a great pick. That's how they get it to you. But I think the public, I agree with Perloff. The public is ready for honest assessment. Because they know. I don't know how many teams, I'm a Knicks fan, how many terrible drafts have we had over the course of our years?
Frank Ntilikina.
Kevin Knox.
They fans are ready to talk about how bad they feel like their picks are. So I don't know why they feel like the NFL or the NBA feels like they have to protect the fans from what they already feel. It doesn't make sense to me.
I don't remember, was the panel or any panel negative on the Falcons trading, not even for who they traded for, but the price they paid for that pick?
I didn't see that.
And
nobody in the moment was like, what are they?
People were praising the Rams.
Yeah, and a lot of them liked the pick. They were like, oh, Pierce, that, the Falcons really need edge rushers, which they do, but they paid
they paid more than the Giants did for Jackson Dart.
$1 basically to do it.
Right. But meanwhile, the issue is you have social media. Everybody's killing Atlanta.
Right.
So there's two conversations going on, one on TV and another on the internet.
Twitter was not nice. No.
Because it's usually so welcoming there.
Beat me to it. But if it was warranted in that situation.
Fair. Let's get to headlines. Bogues, what's going on?
Not sure how John Halliburton handled this wherever he was watching Game 1 in Cleveland. But
South Bronx.
I forgot about that guy already.
Thou art banished.
But the actual Pacers celebrating a 121-112 surprise win over the Cavs in that Game 1. It's Cleveland's first loss this postseason. Indy started well, but found itself down 1 in the fourth. Then went on a 15-4 run to get the W. Head coach Rick Carlisle liking his team's mindset.
The key word is aggression, and we got to be in attack mode to have a chance to beat this team. And so, in those situations, we just encourage our guys to play free and let it ride.
All 5 of his starters scored at least 13 points, led by 23 from Andrew Nembhard, 22 from Tyrese Halliburton, who also had 13 assists. The Cavs only 9 for 38 from 3, including a 1 of 11 from Donovan Mitchell.
Is that bad?
Wait, is this the time when I can finally bring up the Kenny Atkinson resume? The playing resume? He's the head coach of the Cavs. We were talking about Rick Carlisle kind of, coach circles around him a little bit last night. I guarantee you've never heard of any of these places that Kenny Atkinson has played.
Hit us.
Started with the Wichita Falls Texans.
Kansas, sure.
Wait.
No, you've heard of you've never heard of the team.
Wichita Falls is in Texas?
It is in Texas.
Yeah, it's the town where the Last Picture Show happened. I know as a huge Larry McMurtry fan. So anyway, it's not
just Wichita is in Kansas.
Yeah, Wichita Falls is where that movie happened. Okay.
Yeah, Manny, you might want to sit this whole thing out. The Long Island Surf.
Mexico City.
Now, wait, there's a team called the Long Island Surf? That doesn't exist
in
anymore.
1991, there was.
I never heard of
the
them.
CBA?
Okay.
Sure. And then we get into the European. So that was in the U.S. And now we go
Just
overseas.
2 stops in the CBA? Oh, Kenny.
Multiple. Vino de Toro Zamora. Baloncesto Salmonaca.
Can you give us the countries, or are you just going to...
Calpe Aguas de Valencia. Valencia, the Spain. Pasta Baronia Napoli.
I've heard of pasta, of course. Penne.
Your Italian accent is beautiful, by the way, Maggie.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'm delicate like that.
That sounds like Germany.
FC Mulhouse Basket.
That's a soccer club.
This sounds like Germany, too.
And my favorite one is a team called Real Canoe. I looked it up.
C-A-N-U?
No, C-A-N-O-E. It's actually an aquatic club. It's like a yacht club.
Like a rowing club?
Yeah, kind of. It's like a water sports kind of place, and it's called.
And they had a basketball
So
team?
you do
Real
know it.
Canoe. I looked that one up.
Okay. That's the only one. And where is
Not all of them have like links that I could even.
Are you on Wikipedia?
Where is Real Canoe?
Real Canoe. It's like he was playing for Real Canoe in Madrid.
Canary Islands.
You know what their big rival is? Fake Canoe.
Or just like Real Pontoon Boat.
Yeah, the other one, Real Kayak.
He played for a team called the Demon Astronauts.
Oh, my goodness.
Why are we talking about this more? Why is nobody talking about how he played for the Demon Astronauts in Amsterdam?
That's probably
Why is no one talking about it, huh?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, let's all do our jobs here.
2 minutes left in a really close game of a crucial division, and Maggie is tweeting out, "Can we talk about Kenny Atkinson's career? Or are we going to? Is everyone going to ignore the elephant in the room here?"
Wait.
Real Canoe.
I kind of like astronauts as a team name, though. How many astronauts do we have?
Oh,
as a
Houston.
team?
What about Demon Astronauts? The Demon Astronauts. I'm
I
surprised
was
not a movie.
I was
That's a
today
team
years old
name.
when I learned that Houston Astros are short for astronauts. I didn't think about that.
Actually, I don't even know that. I assumed.
Guys, keep the focus on Real Canoe, because also think about naming a basketball team. The Canoe is the least intimidating boat.
I don't know if it's named after a boat, though.
Dude, look it up. Real Canoe. I'll spare you.
You think the kayak is more intimidating than a canoe?
Hell
I think
yeah.
canoes are-
Kayak you can do like on rapids and stuff.
I would say the canoe is not
Canoe
the least
scares me.
intimidating.
A canoe scares me.
Okay,
Like
more
a-
than a raft.
Like a paddle boat, or there's many less intimidating boats.
I like kayaks.
You can't just sit and chill on a canoe.
I
You got to
can-
actually paddle.
I can attack the hell out of the kayak.
All right, back to Bogusch.
By the way, there's a former NBA Finals MVP once coached the Long Island Surf.
Finals MVP.
Finals MVP. No.
You said finals
in the
MVP.
80s.
Ooh. Cedric Maxwell?
Yeah. He went 14-13 in 1996 as a head coach of the Long Island Surf. In the USBL was the league.
The hell is the USBL?
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
They used to play games in Elm Court in Queens. I remember I used to have practice, and then after practice, they'd get us off they say, get out the court. The old guys got to play. And they'd be like all these like journeyman guys. It was like a 7'7" like guy from like, I think he was from China, who was playing. Guy was the worst player I've ever seen. But he was 7'7", so they let him play.
What team are you talking about right now? The Long Island Surf?
Long Island Surf.
I thought you hadn't heard of them 5 minutes ago.
Oh, I'm saying a different USBL team.
Oh, okay.
I don't know
if you're
what this team was called.
7'7", even if you're the world's worst basketball player, you can't be like the world's best accountant. Like
How
it'd
do-
just be so
Yeah,
hard
yeah.
to live in the world and
Yeah.
not be a basketball player.
How do we not know about the 7'7" Chinese guy? I've never heard of this guy.
He looked. I mean, I was only 15, 16, so maybe he wasn't 7'7", but he looked like he was 7'7".
Any chance that this guy was Yao Ming?
He was definitely not Yao. He was definitely not Yao Ming. I
Was
can
it
confirm.
George Murison?
I don't know. It was not Wang Jiji either. I know that. I know him.
Huh.
Bogue, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I just felt like Real Canoe deserved a moment.
And I'm now way too busy learning the history of Real Canoe, which began in 1928.
What country is it in? Sorry, I
It's
didn't.
in Spain.
Spain.
In Madrid, you said, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
been around since 1928.
Does
Listen.
Madrid have a lot of places to go canoeing?
The active
Isn't it
departments of Real Canoe, according to Wikipedia, they've got diving, they've got synchronized swimming, regular swimming, water polo. Guys,
Very
it's like
aquatic.
it's like a swim club.
I'm sure they're not otters.
It first offered swimming and has added all those other things since. But in 1928, after several years of negotiations, they contacted a Canadian canoe distributor who used a word on their packaging, canoe. Thus, a club dedicated to canoeing, mountaineering, and skiing was created.
Oh my God! I also found the guy. The seven. He was 7'9".
Who is it?
Sun Ming. He played for the Dodge City Legend and the Maryland Nighthawks on the USBL. I remember they used to play at the gym I was playing at.
Wow.
How tall is he?
7'9".
He was gigantic. He was the largest person I've ever seen.
How long did he live? Do you have that?
He's still alive.
Had to have
We're
been-
not going to kill him off. Yeah.
Had
He's
to
only
have-
good.
41 years old.
Had to have been 180 pounds.
No, but I'm just thinking
Oh, he
guys
was-
that
he was
tall
big.
generally unfortunately don't have really long lives.
Yeah, he was 370 pounds.
There's a kid right now who's gigantically big, right?
Yeah.
Florida, right? The French guy. We've done some stuff on
He's
him.
like 7'1", and he's like going behind the back playing.
No,
in
he's
those
like
weird
isn't he
jerseys.
7'7" or something?
Oh, you're talking about that kid. There's another kid who's like 15, who's like 7'2".
There was a prospect who was from India, I thought, who was huge too.
Oh, Simbular?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's
Played for
the
the
number.
Kings, I think, for a little bit, right?
I think so, yeah. If not for Stockton Kings. But yeah, I remember Simbular. He played at New Mexico State.
Yeah.
In Texas.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
Yeah.
Solid contribution.
Olivier Rioux is committed to Florida.
Who was that?
He's 7'9".
One more time,
He's
please.
famous. We thought Olivier Rioux.
Your face
Thanks
is
for
the
that.
best.
Olivier Rioux.
Perloff at a French restaurant.
Oui, oui. My daughter's studying French, and I have been quizzing her, so I'm pretty good at French right now.
Oh, yeah?
She must be failing.
Right now.
Another thing to apologize to
That's
Wemby for.
That's what you say it. Try and make your
I
face
don't
look
want to because I know what I'm going to
Olivier-
look like.
You guys know this guy. We've talked about him.
We
You
have
know
talked
who
about
the
him.
biggest guy in the
Yeah, for
history of the
sure.
world.
Yeah.
How do you not dominate when you're how does Sun Ming not make the NBA?
I couldn't
Explain
believe
this.
it. Well, it was very clear as soon as I watched him play. I was like, oh, that's why he's not in the NBA. It was like,
Hey, he's got bricks for hands.
yeah, he couldn't catch, it was like Kwame Brown. No post move to put to memory.
All you have to do is stand there and plunk the ball into the basket.
Not if you can't catch the ball.
Or run the other 94 feet.
I feel like if you're 7'9", you have no excuse.
Would you rather be? We did this on Friday.
7'9" or 5 feet tall?
Yeah, exactly. Would you rather be 7'9" or would you rather be 4'10"?
Oh. 4'10".
Give me
is-
7'9".
Yeah, tough. 4'10" is tough.
I just don't think
Okay,
I'm
5
getting any.
foot.
Kevin Hart?
I don't think I'm getting
Kevin
any women
Hart.
if I'm 5 feet tall.
Yeah, that's rough.
You think you're getting somebody if you're 7'9"?
Yeah.
I mean,
She's
listen,
got a
Other
type.
basketball players.
Sun Ming might not have made the NBA, but he slayed for the Long Island Surf.
He married his wife is Zhu Yan, who is 6'2". They are recognized by Guinness World Records as the tallest living married couple with a combined height of 13 feet 10 inches. Jeez. He found love. I don't know who with 5 foot people did.
Plenty of 5 foot people find love.
With other 5 foot people.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, imagine you go to a hotel room with that couple. Like, you have to find a very long bed.
I wasn't sure where you were going with that.
No, I'm just saying it's hard to be 7'9". I think you guys are. I think 5 feet. 7'9"
Yeah.
stinks.
Also, there's so many women who are so short. Like you
Right.
could find somebody in your that you're seeing eye to eye with, you're going to find. How many women are 6'2"? Not that many. 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah, and she's still 2 feet shorter than me.
I know. Anyway, Bogusch, thank you. Sorry to derail that with Real Canoe. We do have some really exciting hockey calls for you, so we will get that to you in just a moment. It is the Maggie and Perloff Show. Got an update for you on the most interesting man in football next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
What the is Aaron Rodgers up to today?
So glad you asked. Welcome back to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Well, this was a surprise, Pearl. Star-studded Kentucky Derby.
Yep.
A little muddy.
Oh, my God. Really cool looking, but probably wasn't fun to race.
Congrats to Sovereign. Won the Kentucky Derby, beating out Journalism by a nose or two. But Aaron Rodgers was at the Kentucky Derby. This is not new. He's done this before, but this was unusual. Wearing a wedding ring. Aaron Rodgers was seen, I think, at the gala the night before the Derby, wearing a wedding ring. Didn't have a woman on his arm for any of the red carpet stuff.
Doing some research here.
Yeah.
It was a ring.
Wearing a ring.
You're assuming it's a wedding ring.
Okay, well, he's wearing it on his left hand on his ring finger.
Yeah. So and that guarantees it's a wedding ring? I'm actually asking you.
Yes, the left one goes to your heart. That's supposed to be why you wear it.
No, I know, but
Yeah.
so does he absolutely know that? So you're convinced he's married then?
I think everybody knows that.
No, yeah, but I think that maybe he just happens to be wearing a ring there. I think it's possible he's not married.
Well, of course it's possible he's not married. We haven't heard that he's married. Now, we know he was dating Brittany with an I.
Yeah.
We also know that he did say in McAfee, the last appearance he made, he was talking about the Steelers and why he hasn't made a decision yet on where he's going to play next year. And he said he is in a committed, serious relationship. We have not seen this woman. There's no soft launch here. Like, there's no pictures of them, as far as I can tell. And to be showing up wearing a wedding ring is certainly, to be wearing a ring on your wedding ring finger is certainly going to raise some eyebrows. You think this was a mistake?
Well, possibly. The only authority in sports, TMZ, said that they weren't sure if it's a wedding ring. They've reached out to Rodgers, have not heard back. So this is clearly in their purview. They will figure it out before anybody. The fact that they can't get a picture of Brittany is really disturbing. Do we actually know this woman exists?
Don't be a freaking weirdo.
If it is indeed still Brittany with an I, which we determined a Brittany with an I is out of the league of most of the men on this show.
Big shout out to all the women.
Just a name. You're not saying this specific Brittany. You're saying any Brittany with an I is out of it.
We covered this one day when you were gone, that Brittany with an I is just beyond intimidating to most men.
No, I couldn't land a Brittany with an I.
I said, you don't know me.
Yeah, and I do know a Brittany with an I, and she definitely, you guys couldn't handle her. She's just too cool. And married a finance guy, like it's a different world.
That's the problem, though, is that these cool chicks are getting with Aaron Rodgers and finance pros.
I know, isn't it? The world's just an unfair place.
Is Brittany a cool name, though? Like, it's kind of like a Britney Spears.
Well, but she's not with an I.
The I changed everything. I missed this whole conversation.
You did miss it. I didn't know this was a thing, but I was like, oh, man, Brittany with an I. Like, the one I know is amazing. She's so awesome. She got married at a castle in Scotland. Like, really, really cool chick forever. I've known her for a ton of time. And you guys all informed me that squares.
Yep.
Like,
so I would think Brittany is a hot but vacuous girl generally, right? Like Brittany is like.
If we're majorly
I don't know what
stereotyping.
vacuous means, but I will agree.
It's like, and the winner of the Nobel Prize is Brittany something that's not going to happen, right?
You judge people by their names. I mean, we are all judging Britney's with an I, making them awesome and really cool. I don't know about vacuous. I really.
And welcome to the Supreme Court. Brittany, no, that's just not happening. Like Sonia, that is a Supreme Court name, not Brittany.
A little more serious, you're saying. So.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Maybe this would be like, I just think there are certain names that lend themselves to, I'll just say it, hot girls, and there are certain names that don't.
Yeah, but it's funny because
I live kind of a quiet life.
The parents, when you're naming somebody, like, do you know you're naming your daughter and it's like a hot girl name? You named 2 daughters. You have experience here. And your daughters are beautiful. I just don't know if you and Sarah were thinking about that.
But I do think families are like, okay, we're having a daughter. Maybe someday she'll be, I don't know, invent a tech company or be on the Supreme Court. Let's name her Brittany. No, that's not going to happen. It's going to be more like Rachel. That's just a fact, Maggie. I'm sorry. That's the reality of the situation. Britney is Britney Spears.
I was thinking that one name I think that you could name your daughter, and I think there's like immediately kind of this intrigue around her, is the name Natasha. Yeah, I got Manny's attention with Natasha.
I kind of zoned out right there, but I heard Natasha and I reeled me right back in.
Oh, do Americans name their kids Natasha? That's a name now?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Tasha.
Yeah.
I think immediately you're like, oh, Natasha. I'm kind of assuming she's really beautiful.
Bianca's usually
Bianca, Gigi.
fine, usually.
Yeah.
But these are not American names, though. I mean, these are.
Well, I mean, everything's up for grabs now, Pearl.
True.
Yeah.
Don't limit yourself.
But I mean, okay. Yeah, generally, though, when I grew up, everyone was Jennifer or Jill.
Yeah, Jessica.
Yeah.
Anyway, Aaron Rodgers had a ring on his wedding finger. What? His ring on his wedding ring finger? Yeah, sure. What does it mean? Who knows?
You're in a 5-minute break. minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Asking you today, who's had a better late career, Steph Curry or LeBron James? Welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Steph Curry and the Warriors trounced the Houston Rockets last night, Pearl, in a Game 7 in Houston. Steph was not good in the first half, at least shooting the basketball.
Yeah.
He missed his first 7 of 8 shots, but then rebounded to have a stellar fourth quarter. This is really where the Warriors put the clamps on, showed their championship medal, their experience. It was all on display. And Steph at 37, I mean, it's incredible. We talk about LeBron, and LeBron is rewriting history as well, but Steph is right there with him.
I don't think so. I disagree with this because LeBron at 37 was awesome too. Honestly, Steph has had really his worst year. He's taken a little step back. He's showing age in a different way. And he's had these halves where he scores nothing. He hit a 40-footer with like 2 minutes left in that first. I'm like, it's coming. But come on. I mean, they had, in my opinion, they had no reason to go 7 games with this Rockets team. I mean, the Rockets were playing at a certain point this 2 big lineup with Şengün and Steve Adams. I'm like, oh, this is not good. I thought that was almost a sign of weakness that the Warriors had to go 7 games. Now they're a little tired for Minnesota. We'll see. I mean, Draymond and Steph ain't young. Can they keep those legs going? So I think that's a real issue.
Yeah, it's going to be tough against Minnesota, no doubt about it. But again, I think Minnesota, could the Warriors, who have notoriously played with small lineups, death lineups, and have made a cottage industry out of it, are they going to be able to get Rudy Gobert off the floor, which is something that the Lakers could not do? Gobert had his all-time...
Gobert was awful in that series until the last game.
Right,
awful.
But had his best game when it was... Arguably, they say that can be the hardest game to win, the closeout game.
And the reason he had his best game was the Lakers were so tired because J.J. Redick had played them all series. So I think endurance comes into this. I did look it up. Gobert played against Steph 1 time in the playoffs. Swept 4-0, lost every game by double digits. It's not a great matchup for Minnesota. This is, by the way, must-watch TV. This series...
Yep.
And Adam Silver, the commissioner was rooting for Steph to advance. Because you can't not have Steph and LeBron.
No, I think certainly. Listen, watching Steph continue to do this, and now with Jimmy Butler revitalize the Warriors, could they make a real run? I don't know, because here's the thing on the other side. How about Denver maybe give Oklahoma City a little bit of a series here? Maybe they can try to, I think people forgot Oklahoma City was even in the playoffs. They've just been sitting around.
Denver fired their coach, though.
So they still won.
So I know, but how can they this team can't go all the way having fired their coach with 3 games left.
Well, maybe the firing Michael Malone was the best thing they could have done. I don't know. I don't think that's true, but they advanced past the Clippers. Ty Lue's a hell of a coach, and they beat the Clippers.
Yeah, it's just a funny team. I'm just saying it's a very unusual path to being dominant. Again, you're right. I could squint and see a path out of here for the Warriors. I think the Minnesota is young. Maybe the Warriors can out-mind game them. And then Denver is a good matchup for OKC. I just think, it's OKC. You're right. We forgot they were even playing because they're so dominant.
I know. Well, they're just waiting around. They swept Memphis, it feels like, about a year ago. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. So we have some poll results here that might be a little surprising to some. Who has had a better post-age 35 NBA career? Steph Curry is winning this poll. Now it's early. You can go vote at Maggie and Pearl, 68% to 32%, which is funny because I can't tell if this is just LeBron fatigue, because it seems like everything that LeBron does now at 40 is setting a record, celebrate this, do this, and maybe people are getting a little, I don't want to say sick of it, because I think we still love to watch him play, but also does the idea that Steph Curry stayed on one team this whole time always edge him out in some ways over the LeBron haters? Like, for people who think LeBron had to go here and had to go there, I mean, let's not pretend like Curry didn't play on a super team also. And Kevin Durant just had to go to him. But they both are similar in that way.
We were asking the poll in the morning after Steph advanced and LeBron just lost in 5 games. If we had asked this before the playoffs, would the results have been different? Because the Lakers were the team that everyone was excited about, ironically.
I know. What do you think? 888-710-4ISN. EJ, are you still with LeBron here?
I would lean LeBron just because of the stats. But I think Steph definitely has a chance to pass him, because I think Steph, what I think is interesting about Steph is he has shown that he could be unquestionably the best player on a team that can go deep into the playoffs and maybe compete for a championship. LeBron, we've seen whether he's been kind of tag teaming with AD or tag teaming with Luka Doncic, it appears right now that he's not that guy anymore.
Right.
So the question
like 2 years ago, they go to the Western Conference Finals.
Right. And then it got destroyed. Yeah. So to me, Steph won a title. I think they're going to be in a position to maybe get deep into the playoffs again. And then the other thing, too, is we saw that Olympics, and LeBron was so great for most of it. And then when it came to the semifinals and the gold medal game, Curry was just out of this world. It just feels like he can reach a different stratosphere when they absolutely need it the most, where LeBron is almost like he wears himself out by the time they get to that moment.
Because he's 4 years older.
I know.
4 or 3.
Well, it's
40,
3.5.
Yeah, okay. Whatever.
So, but also, too, what has Steph done since the title year? I mean, Steph's done nothing. So what do you mean he can lead us? And that he was younger in his title year than LeBron's title year, significantly younger.
Right, but LeBron, I think, has had significantly a lot more help is what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, but Steph hasn't done any. You said that Steph can lead a team deep into the playoffs. I think that's a little TBD. I mean, we'll see how they do in this series. Can Steph win a title still? That's part of the question. Do you guys honestly see this Warriors team winning another? Does he get another ring? If he does, then I'll go with you guys. But until that happens, no.
Well, to be honest, I didn't really see 2023 coming. So, that 2022, 2023 season, whatever it was.
2021-22.
That's what it was, 21-22?
Yeah,
you're right about that.
LeBron's way older.
No, but I didn't see that coming, and I think it added a new element to Steph's career. And I don't think you're making these trades for Jimmy Butler and trying to do this stuff if you don't still think you can rip off a title.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, a month ago we were saying all of this about the Lakers. We were totally in the Lakers.
Yeah, and it was totally disappointing when the Lakers lost in the first round.
I know.
And we crushed them for it, or I did.
The Lakers had better odds coming into this playoffs than the Warriors. The Lakers were the team where we thought LeBron was going to do something great. I just think LeBron's sort of triple-double stats and his 26 point. He's scoring 26.8 points per game since he turned 35. That's insane. It's totally unprecedented. There's no way Steph is going to even come sniff that if he plays to 40.
Well, it's not like Steph has really fallen off. I'm looking, he averaged 25 points a game this year.
Well, he's not going to average 26.8 from 35 to 40 because he is falling. Does it go down pretty much every year?
I don't know. I mean, so Steph is 37, right? So 2 years ago, it was 29.4 points a game, 26.4, and then this year, 24.5.
He also plays less minutes than LeBron. LeBron plays a lot of minutes. He doesn't take any kind of minutes restriction.
Right.
So when you are doing...
He probably should.
Yeah, and if LeBron did, he wouldn't average 26 points a game.
Well, that's the other part, too. When you're talking about, we're asking you the question today, who's had a better post-35 career, LeBron or Steph? Obviously, LeBron's played more post-35 years. But are we really talking about the regular season at this point?
Yeah, but what has Steph done since he was 34? I mean, that was not post-35. He was 34. What has he done post-35 in the postseason?
Well, he's still playing. I got that for you.
It's okay.
I got that for you. 888-710-4ISN.
I mean, if the Lakers had drawn Houston, would LeBron still be playing?
You will never know.
I don't know. All right, let's. You're welcome to vote, by the way. Go vote. Who's had the better late career? Is it LeBron or is it Steph? And you can call us again. 888-710-4476 is the number. We got to get to the Cowboys. Do you want to play the Is this worth the quickie? I think it's more than a Cowboy quickie, quite frankly. This is big news, Pearl. Did you see Brian Schottenheimer, head coach of your Dallas Cowboys, has decided to put Dak Prescott and Micah Parsons' lockers right next to each other?
That's big news? Okay.
All
right. What does it mean?
Yeah, why not? Can I put the hat on? My professional Bull Riders Tour hat here. So Micah Parsons, still unsigned, by the way. No contract extension. Dak Prescott, richest quarterback in the NFL, highest paid by average annual. Lockers right next to each other. Trying to show some kind of unity here, maybe between the offense and the defense, or between the two most famous players, best players.
Oh, I was thinking, is this so Micah Parsons learns from a more mature player, or is it that Dak gets some of Micah Parsons' fire, or is it a combo? Like, who's benefiting? What is the coach trying to do here? I'm curious.
Well, if you're asking me, I think is all just eyewash. This is something I think you would do on a college team. I'm not telling you that Brian Schottenheimer is not going to be a good coach. I have no idea. You don't either. None of us do. But two grown men handle their business the way they handle it very, very differently. Gonna put their lockers next to each other to try to create some kind of like a frat. They're already teammates, and guys can be adults. They can have relationships. They don't have to have the lockers right next to each other. It feels a little like he saw this once maybe somewhere, or I don't know.
Well, I honestly can't tell you where anybody's locker is in the NFL except for these two now.
Well, I think a lot of times they'll do Zach Wilson next to Aaron Rodgers or someone like that, where they want to try to let a young guy learn from an older guy. But to be honest, that's kind of infantizing.
Well, that's like two quarterbacks to each other.
Something like that.
Whatever. It's making Micah Parsons kind of seem like maybe he's the immature one here or something like that.
Right.
And I don't love that message.
Oh, I don't know. I feel like Dak is... If anybody, people have major issues with Dak's leadership too, don't they?
Absolutely. I think if we put a poll up, why haven't the Dallas Cowboys won a Super Bowl, I think Dak Prescott gets a pretty significant slice of that blame.
I feel like Micah Parsons' Q rating is a little higher than Dak Prescott right now.
Well, Q rating is different than leadership.
And even leadership. I don't think people trust that Dak is a Super Bowl winning quarterback more so than they don't trust Micah Parsons.
Yeah, because we've watched Dak's whole career and he hasn't gotten close.
Right,
Micah Parsons still has a lot left here. But yeah, all right, there we go. The music.
The only locker room situation I remember is in the Aaron Hernandez movie that Brandon Lloyd came over and he had to stand next. He had the locker next to Aaron Hernandez. Everyone was like, "You don't want that locker. That's gonna be bad news for you." I remember Wes Welker or somebody pulled him aside and said, "You got to be really careful."
That's in the dramatized version.
No, I was actually in the documentary.
Oh, it was. Okay.
But anyway, I think this. I totally agree. It's eyewash. What is the Cowboys' problem? To me, their number one problem right now that they have to address before anything is they got to stop the run. They got to get tough. They got to run the ball and stop the run. But they've been trying to do that. For some reason, this team just lacks an overall toughness or something. I don't know if it's character or talent, but they're not built like a champion.
Yeah, I would say it's tough, though, to say the Cowboys, wow, their lack of success has been a lack of talent when you do put together multiple 12-win seasons. And I know that has a little to do with schedule and the quarterbacks you face and all of that. But I guess leadership, I think, has been an issue. And I think the biggest reason why leadership is an issue is because Jerry is in every microphone and answering every question. And so he's still the face of the team, even though sometimes I feel like when he's talking, it's nonsensical. And I don't speak fluent Jerry, clearly, because I'm often left baffled by what he's saying. And I don't think people believe Dak Prescott is he has all the characteristics of a leader, but where is he when things are melting down on a sideline of a playoff game?
Why?
And I know he can't stop the run. I know he can't stop, the Green Bay Packers defense, but he also didn't play well in some of these playoff games also.
Yeah, I mean, Green Bay scored 48 points in that one game I think you're referring to. Yeah, one thing that happened, I think the Cowboys ran into a really, really good San Francisco team. And I've always
barely lost to those San Francisco teams.
Yeah, I would say that I've always defended Dak in those games,
Yeah.
but those San Francisco teams went on to kick everyone's butt. It wasn't just Dallas. They were close spreads, and then you say, "Oh wow, we underestimated." Remember, San Francisco should have gotten the Super Bowl the year the Rams did it. That was a much better San Francisco team than we thought.
I mean, you lost at home to Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, you're going to be thinking about that one for a while.
Which year is that?
That was the year when, remember, Dak, ran at the end.
Yeah, the end.
He couldn't understand why there was all this green grass in front of him, and it was because the 49ers were letting the clock run out.
Well, yeah, but my point was that team was way better than we thought they were. They went on to play very, very good from that point on. Then they lost that really tough game. It was 19-13, where the ball bounced off the Cowboys receiver at the end. It was a pick on Dak. Yeah, I just think that was a little bit of bad luck. Against Green Bay, that was a total team meltdown, and it was not on Dak Prescott. It was on coaching, and it was on the way the character of that building, I will say, or football character of that building. There's just something missing there.
I also thought Dak was not good in that game, but it almost didn't matter because the Green Bay Packers got off to such a big lead. Not that it didn't matter, but it became secondary. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. I don't know if this is Brian Schottenheimer's first move, but it's kind of the first one, or it feels like he's trying to put his fingerprints on the team. And that's, again, putting Micah Parsons and Dak Prescott's locker together. This could backfire on him. If they both don't like him, now all of a sudden you got two guys who are both very powerful. May not be singing your praises, but I'm not going to try to go negative here. He could be a great coach. We have no idea.
Well, Dak is always going to love Schottenheimer, right? I think he kind of got him hired. Don't you get that sense? I saw some interviews like, oh, my God, this is Dak's choice.
Well, as they got him hired, they basically interviewed three people. And one was Kellen Moore, and one was the guy who was already in the building, and Brian Schottenheimer. And I think the third was Robert Saleh.
Oh, yeah. But Dak,
this wasn't a very wide-ranging coaching search.
It was, Dak loves Schottenheimer. I mean, the quotes are glowing. Now, Parsons, I don't know what he's going to do. He is the wild card in this situation. What is he going to sign a contract? Does he want to stay in Dallas? Is he committed to this team? Is he going to be upset about the coach? You bring up a great point. If you know the answers to that, I would love to hear them.
I just am curious from the Cowboy fans, like, what do you think is the biggest issue with why they haven't won? Like, is it Jerry? Is it the talent? Is it the leadership? Because Schottenheimer's move here kind of felt like it was like a leadership type thing.
Yeah, it's Jerry.
Well,
put that poll up, and I'll bet Jerry wins 85% to 7-7.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Yeah, so Micah Parsons, Dak Prescott's lockers are next to each other.
I don't know his name.
Barry is in South Jersey, wants to talk about a story we brought you last hour. Aaron Rodgers at the Kentucky Derby with a ring on his wedding finger. Barry, what do you think's a foot?
Well, it's called the smart ring, and it measures many health metrics like heart rate and oxygen rate and things of that, blood oxygen and how you're sleeping and so forth. And they're very popular. They're very inexpensive, and they're black. And you can mistake it for a wedding ring. A lot of guys wear them. I see them in the gym all the time.
Oh, Barry, is this the thing, the Aura ring?
It could be. Well, there's a million brands out there. It could be. I think the generic name is the Aura ring, but they come in many different names.
Okay, well, that makes sense. Does it have to be on your left hand because that's the one that's connects to your heart?
Well, I've seen them when women wear them on their pointing finger on their right hand. So, but the way you mentioned it, that the wedding ring finger is closest to your heart.
Right.
That's where a lot of people wear them. So,
I have seen these rings. Maybe Barry cracked the case here. Here's the one thing, though. He's a famous person who's also famously single. He's dated some of the most attractive and famous women in the world. He's got to know when he wears a ring on that finger, even if it's what'd you call it, a health ring?
A smart ring, like
smart
a smart
ring,
TV or a smart watch, yeah.
He's got to know that's going to, pique
Don't be a freaking
people's
weirdo.
interest, right?
I don't know. As a guy, I honestly, I kind of know that that's the ring finger, but when I was getting married, I'm like, where's this ring go? I never thought about it at all.
You figured that out on the altar?
I figured it out when we were ring shopping. I'd never thought once about where the wedding ring go. Like Manny probably doesn't think about
you didn't know where the ring finger.
I knew technically, but it's not something. I never checked out a guy's hand to see where the ring was.
Oh, maybe that's a woman thing.
Yeah.
It's the first. It's maybe the second thing I'll notice about a person.
Really? Oh my God! I have no clue.
What's number one?
I don't know. Barry, thank you. Probably depends.
Women have this superpower where if you wear the same pants at work every day, they notice it. And like, we have no idea. That to me, that's the biggest difference between men and women. I don't know if you do,
I
but
don't have
generally
that power.
In workplaces, women track your outfits much stronger than men can. Anybody have an experience with
I
that?
think we just notice more about men's appearance. I think I notice like people's nails, their shoes, things like that. The wedding ring, but like the wedding ring in some ways, like when you're single, I think, depending how late into the game you're single. Like if we're out with one of my friends who's still single, well now she's dating this wonderful guy. But when we were out and we'd be kind of like out, kind of like scoping around for her, you know, you're looking for the wedding ring number 1 because wedding ring means off limits. Stay away.
Does it?
It does.
Yes,
when you yourself are trying to find a husband, yes, it does.
Oh, okay. I'm learning things.
I don't know if it's vice versa. No, it is. I mean, you should.
Manny, if you are talking to a young lady in a bar, do you check out her ring finger?
No, I'm usually actually just my eyes are glued usually to the television that's showing SportsCenter when I'm trying to talk to a woman. Yeah.
And hence, still single.
Bang, bang.
Amazing how that happened.
Yeah, I don't get it either. Can you?
You guys really don't notice when a woman's wearing a wedding ring if you're gonna buy her a drink?
No,
well,
I could care less.
Yeah, I mean, no, I notice it.
Like that's her
more-
business.
Now that I've given Andrea a ring, I notice it a lot more now.
Never notice it because women wear a lot of rings too. My daughters wear a lot of rings.
Yeah, but not on that finger. I bet your daughters don't.
Probably not, but no, I'm clueless to it. Actually,
I do feel like there are girls who wear like rings on like all 5 fingers though.
Yeah,
and that
I
always
think that's
throws me
freaks.
off. Like, what's that about?
Freaks, man.
I think generally you keep it off the wedding ring finger though.
I'm not sure my kids do actually.
I don't think so.
Like, why do you have a ring on your thumb? How's that comfortable?
I don't get it either.
Never thought about that.
I feel like I've definitely like been on the subway or doing like there are chicks who just like to wear a lot of rings,
Sure.
and I feel like I don't feel like
Bros,
they're
too.
avoiding that finger. I feel like they're putting it on.
What do we think about men who wear jewelry like rings, not just the wedding ring or the smart ring that Barry said he thinks Aaron Rodgers is wearing, like a smart ring that
I want a ring.
tracks your
It's
vitals?
kind of like Brittany with an eye. You got to be really cool to do that. I don't think I'm cool to do
Agreed.
that.
I don't know if the word is cool. I think it's similar to painting your fingernails. Like you're making a statement that this is the lane I'm going to be in when you're wearing a ring. It's sort of more like, to me, it's a little bit like smoking patchouli and being that guy. Like, you know, you're a certain kind of guy.
Yeah, you got a vibe.
Yeah. Like kind of like you have a lot of piercings. Like I don't know if cool or not
Play
cool.
guitar.
Yeah, I just think that, or to me, it says like guys with a lot of piercings, for example.
Sure.
So
That doesn't mean they're cool or uncool. That just means that's their kind of thing.
So I couldn't pull one off, is what you're saying?
Pull what off? A ring?
A ring, yeah.
Yeah, sure. You can wear a ring.
Okay, cool.
I think you're very
I'm
cool,
in-
man.
yeah. Well, I like to think so as well. Thanks, Pearl.
I think you should keep your eyes off the sports if you're in a bar.
No, that's not helping.
Can't do that. I got to find out what the Colorado Rockies are doing on Monday night.
Never change, Manny. I don't want you to change. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Okay, we have a lot to do. We have the M&P 500, which comes your way every Monday. Whose stock is up, whose stock is down. And one trade in the NFL that we thought we'd see looks like it's on the back burner permanently. Maggie Perloff.
Big shout out to all the women backing up the fellas.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
Okay, here's our redo of the Kentucky Derby Sports Minute. Let's not kid ourselves. This wasn't just a horse race. It was a metaphor.
One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Back on Maggie and Perloff, trying to figure out why the Dallas Cowboys cannot win a Super Bowl anymore. I think it's squarely on Jerry Jones. I mean, this is not me coming up with this, but when the players are answering to the owner, not the coach, you always have a problem. That sort of structure has been the downfall of them. Not to mention that Jerry is the shadow GM of the team, or the GM. The whole thing is messed up. I don't think you can put it on any one particular player personally.
Right. Well, we're talking about this because Brian Schottenheimer has said that Micah Parsons and Dak Prescott's lockers will now be next to each other. Now, Schottenheimer was with the organization, has been with the organization. He's been in the locker. Maybe he did see a leadership problem or feels like these two need to be united to sell the team on a vision. To me, it looks like eyewash. It seems like something a college coach would do. JT is in Atlanta. What's up, JT?
Hey, what's going on, you guys? You guys have got me cracking up today because the guy's not noticing like a ring finger. I mean, like a woman wearing a ring, a ring on her wedding ring finger. That's some shade. And Perloff, you said you don't care? Anyways,
yes, this was we talked about this last segment just to catch the rest of the audience up. Aaron Rodgers was wearing a ring on his wedding ring finger, but Barry in South Jersey called in and said it could have been a smart ring, which like tracks your vitals, and like we can't take 2 steps anymore these days without documenting it. But anyway,
right.
So he's probably right about that. But then we got into a discussion of whether men notice women's wedding rings, and women definitely notice whether a man's wearing one.
And I'm going to tell you, Perloff, why that women are wearing, what pants you are wearing. It's called a print watch. I just learned of this not too long ago, but that's a whole thing. And that's why they know what kind of pants you've worn for the last week or not, just FYI.
It's called a print watch? What?
Yeah. Come on, Maggie. Maggie, I don't mean to be telling women secrets. But Maggie, you're like your fake. Like, oh, what are we talking about? It's kind of like that's
JT. I think she's genuinely perplexed.
I just want to make sure I'm spelling it right because I'm trying to look it up on the internet. PRINTWATCH.
Yeah,
but you might put the ing. You can put the ing behind watch. But yeah, that's
watching.
Yeah, Again, I just learned about this myself, but I thought this was like part of the secret women's Yaya traveling pants code. Like I didn't know that not all women didn't know about this, Maggie.
I'm looking at JT. I would not lie to the audience. I have no idea what you're talking about, but I'll try to figure it out.
Neither does Google.
Yeah,
Google's
I've seen
got
a lot
on print watching.
A lot of companies that will monitor the expenses around your printer, like
your toner's low.
Exactly.
By the
way, I'm having that issue at home. If we want to get into print watching, I'm totally down. Also, it keeps jamming, so we always have to stand up there and watch it and keep on fixing the paper.
No,
hence we print watch as well.
I'm for any of these women, our secret witchy tactics that we use to try to pull men into our orbit. I mean, JT, come on. I'll own up to any of that stuff. I don't know what this is though. I don't.
I thought this was like the not to pull them into you, but as part of the selection process of women. So
are you saying that?
I thought that.
Are they looking at private parts? Help me out here. What are you talking about, JT? Explain what it is.
Yeah. And
I didn't know
how your genes conform to the rest of your body, or your pants, your Dockers, whatever you may have on.
Yeah, I'm going to just be honest with you quickly, JT. As far as what women notice first, it'd be the size of your wallet, not that.
Maybe that's what they're looking at.
All righty. Listen, in regards to this move by the Cowboys, I think this is hilarious because these guys have neither one of them shown to be great leaders. I mean, Parsons was the one that didn't mention his own quarterback as one of the top quarterbacks when he's talking about, naming, great quarterbacks out there.
Yeah.
And wasn't it last year that Prescott was like, we suck on the sideline, as they were getting beat down by some random team. So I don't think either one of them have exhibited it much as far as great leadership. And so maybe they're doing this like 2 negatives equal a positive. I don't know how this is supposed to work out, but I don't see this going great for them. But it's just another example of the Cowboys being the Cowboys.
JT, dynamite call on this Monday. All facets covered. Society, women, natural selection, and the Cowboys locker room situation with the Micah Parsons and Dak Prescott's lockers next to each other now.
I just want to make something clear. This is another thing we'll never agree on. Your pass rusher does not supposed to be your leader. Your pass rusher is supposed to destroy the other quarterback. In fact, you don't want necessarily leadership behavior. You want a guy who's on a mission, who's in his own head, who's totally crazy. Like, those are the best pass rushers to me. I don't need a team leader. That's the quarterback.
Okay, that's fine. But this pass rusher and Micah Parsons thinks he is a team leader.
Who cares?
Well, I'm just saying, he's trying to fill this role. So you can't say, well, he's not a leader. He's out here saying, I'm the leader of the team. So, but in so many words.
I just think, actually, JT had a great point. Dak saying that on the sideline was not good. Dak has to rally the troops. If your defensive end is your leader, you probably... I mean, I know you're going to bring up Strahan, and there are exceptions, but generally, it's the quarterback. We can all agree on that, right?
It's supposed to be, yeah. 888-710-4ISN. We shortchanged Bogusch last hour talking about Kenny Atkinson's playing career, the new Cleveland not newish Cleveland Cavaliers head coach, played for a team called Real Canoe. And I laugh.
Real Canoe Natación Club. You've got to bring in the swimming club part.
He played for a swim club called Real Canoe. Amazing
he
that
must
he's
be good
here.
at basketball.
Amazing where he's come from and how he's risen to these heights. What's up, folks?
We'll actually get to Kenny in just a second, but first things first. Buddy Hield did the heavy lifting with 33 points in Game 7 in Houston last night, but fourth quarter is Steph Curry time.
Curry on the logo. Comes left, crossover dribble, crossover again, step back, takes a three under duress. It's good.
I'm the petty
it's
king.
Good. Curry nails it. And it's 91-74. The Warriors have their largest lead of the game right now.
That's Tim Roy on Warriors Radio. The Curry step back, part of a 12-0 knockout punch from Golden State. They sent the Rockets home again, 103-89. Curry 14 fourth quarter points, 22 total. This the fifth time Golden State has knocked Houston out of the postseason. And a quick turnaround now, Game 1 with Minnesota tomorrow night. Here come those Cavs, knocked out the Heat with no trouble in round 1, but a lot of trouble in Game 1 with the Pacers, falling at home 121-113. Real Canoe alum Kenny Atkinson believes his team will be fine moving forward.
I think we have great leadership that starts there, so we'll bounce back. Got to win 4.
Just keep rowing in the right direction.
I was gonna say, do you think they're now retiring jerseys? Like, if he wins the title, do all these dozens of places that he played, like Demon Astronauts and DJK Wurzburg and FC Millhouse Basket, do they all bring him back to honor him?
Imagine being called Demon Astronauts, and that's not the team that has our attention this morning. And you lose out to Real Canoe.
You come up against Real Canoe, you best not miss.
The Cavs made just 9 threes in this loss, 10 less than the Pacers. Tyrese Halliburton led Indy with 22 points and 13 assists, which led to another 34 points. The game of the night was on ice in Winnipeg. Game 7 for the other Jets and the Blues. St. Louis a 3-1 lead with 2 minutes to go, but Winnipeg scored once and then again.
Velarde back in behind the net. Velarde back to the line. Ehlers moves in, shoots, and he fanned on that, got it back again. Far side, quick shot, deflected in front. They score!
That's Cole Perfetti scoring with 3 seconds left in regulation, the latest tying goal in Game 7 history, and it allowed this to happen in double OT.
Pionk walks the line, wristed through traffic. He scores! Deflected in front by the captain, Adam Lowry. Jets win! Jets win! Jets win!
If only that was Bogusch on New York Jets radio.
That's going to be EJ's ringtone, even though it's a totally different franchise in a completely different country.
The hockey Jets with a 4-3 double OT escape, setting up a second-round meeting with Dallas. Austin Riley, a pair of 2-run homers in the Braves' 4-3 win over the Dodgers on Sunday Night Baseball.
Matt Olson, dude.
That's how LA's 7-game win streak ends. Oscar Piastri won F1's Miami Grand Prix, and Scotty Scheffler won the CJ Cup Byron Nelson in Texas at 31 under par. His 4-round total of 253, matching the lowest in PGA Tour history.
Got to retire that course if it's that easy.
Crazy.
Is this like a course he played a lot, though? He mentioned something about when I was a kid, I couldn't imagine playing this. So he kind of had a home field advantage here.
It's basically his home course.
Yeah.
I guess there's a picture of him with Byron Nelson when Scheffler was like 7 years old. I think he might have made his pro debut there since it's his home event. And I think he's come close to winning it in the past, and this might be the first time.
Yeah.
And he has a kid there that you guys don't like, so he was all emotional yesterday.
Wait a minute. That does sound vaguely familiar.
Yeah, you guys are mad that he was going to leave them. He might leave the Masters to see his baby being born.
And then she didn't have the kid for like another 2 weeks.
Right.
We wondered, would he leave the Masters if he was leading through like 2 rounds?
No, I think he said he would leave, and you guys were like, you can't do that. One of you was like, you can't do that. And he didn't have, and then he ended up not having to leave.
Yeah, one of us, head nod. Andrew Perloff.
I'm pointing no fingers. Nothing.
You can't leave the course for the kid, right?
We know.
Yeah, that'd be
Stay
crazy.
consistent.
That'd be insane. There's only 4 majors a year.
Is that the one thing you ever stuck to? Usually you flip when you're
That's true.
Right.
Yeah.
But by the way, I read this reminder. Oh my God, Scotty Scheffler is like the new Tiger, but nobody cares. Like, he's insane. He's going to kill people. Well, he's just so low wattage. You know what I mean? He's not like yeah. No, I think it's fair to say no one cares about Scotty Scheffler. He's as vanilla a guy as they come.
When he was wearing an orange jumpsuit that morning in Kentucky, we certainly cared a ton.
That was crazy.
That was crazy. But am I wrong that Scotty Scheffler's a little low wattage?
I agree.
Yeah, we did like his
obviously,
barbecue menu, right, at the Masters this year. We liked that.
The guy is so boring. He did the same Masters menu twice.
That's true. Although we did like the cookie skillet warm thing with the vanilla ice cream.
That is a top tier dessert. Oh my gosh.
Not just an elite golfer. Good dessert.
By the way, I told Bogusch earlier in this in a break that I want to bet the Cavs are still winning the series, right? So I'm like, let's make a bet. It's still minus 210 Cleveland.
Wow.
And nobody thinks the Pacers are going to do this. So now I'm thinking maybe I bet the Pacers.
Well, now they're
but
forcing
no, I
you
still
to.
think the Cavs win this series.
Garland's got to get healthy. Garland, they Ty Jerome took 20 shots last night. That can't happen.
Everyone's just grunting yes to that.
Yeah, no. Charles Barkley came out and said,
back to the beers.
Even Barkley said Donovan's shooting way too much, like way too much.
He took 30 shots.
Oh, so who's going to score, guys?
He's an idiot and a fool.
But they have Evan Mobley's getting $250 million. Like, I would hope he'd score. Again, high usage will kill you in the playoffs. Just saying, Knicks.
Coming up, we will have the M&P 500. Whose stock is up, whose stock is down after a very eventful weekend.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
The M&P 500 on the Infinity Sports Network.
Welcome back to Maggie Perloff Show. We do this every Monday, just taking a quick stock of the weekend. Who's up, who's down? Perloff, get us going.
Okay, this is sort of a two-person up. The Thompson brothers in the NBA, Amen and Asar, are up. Both had great opening round series. Both have been eliminated. I think Amen is the better one. He's a little more developed offensively. I'm starting to think he might be a singular, like, this guy's good enough to win a title on his own. Because there was a play last night where he drove down the lane, put the ball behind the back, and dunked on everybody. I have not seen that. He's already a defensive force, as his brother with Detroit is. I think this guy, Amen Thompson particularly, might be the face of the NBA good. Like, in 5 years, like, could win a title single-handedly. He's going to be...
Got to work on his shot.
Yeah, but he's so young. Yeah,
that's true.
I'm projecting a little bit here. You know, all young players need to work on their shot. He's just so physically superior. His brother's a little bit below him, but feels like these guys could have incredible NBA futures.
I love it. My stock up is going to be for American-born goaltender Connor Hellebuyck, who you may remember, Pearl, from the Four Nations Cup. He was in goal for USA. That one didn't go the United States' way, but after being pulled, basically did not finish the last 3 games of the Winnipeg Jets series against St. Louis. He was fantastic. He wins in double overtime last night. He was facing off against Jordan Bennington, who you may remember was also in goal for the Four Nations Cup, but he was on the winning side of things, obviously, for Canada. So I want to say stock up for Hellebuyck because the Michigan native, well, it was looking pretty bleak. He's a fantastic goaltender, but was going through a real cold spell and came through big last night.
Yeah, unbelievable. Although, moving forward, I don't know. I don't know about this guy back.
Game 6, he gave up 4 goals on 8 shots during a 5-minute stretch and 5 goals overall. So that's what makes the stock could have been lower.
Is that
you
bad?
know
You
what
said
happens?
you bought low, or you're selling high.
Low. Now I don't know if I'm selling yet. I'm holding. I'm sticking with it high. Who's your stock down?
Okay, it's been a couple hours in the show since we talked about this guy. You got to go James Harden. Last night, on Saturday night, 2 for 8, 7 points. It's not just that. He also was still dribbling a ton, slowing down the Clippers offense. I just think, and I'm going to be very consistent about this, ball hogs make the whole team worse in ways you can't even see. He saps the energy from the whole team, and they just were not there energy-wise with Denver. I think it's in his head to some degree for sure, but he's just got to say, I'm going to contribute in a lot of other ways, and he didn't do it. There's something wrong with James Harden teams. I'm sorry. I part of this is a bitter Sixers fan who saw James Harden underdeliver, but it's been 10 years of this now, Maggie. At what point is he going to figure this out? I don't think he will.
Going to go on the Mount Rushmore of chokers. For me, I'm going to go stock down, and I think the stock continues to plummet. It's just been a bad couple weeks days for Bill Belichick. And, his relationship with Jordan Hudson got so much scrutiny, it even made it to Saturday Night Live this weekend.
This order will make it socially acceptable for a man in his 70s to date a 24-year-old.
That's right. We're calling it the Belichick Law. We're going to make girlfriends young again, okay? Old men can now date far younger women. We like that. It's hot. But in reverse, it's quite disgusting, right? Very Dateline,
That was a spoof of President Trump signing all these ridiculous executive orders, and that would be the Belichick one. I think anyone else getting spoofed by SNL is probably a good thing, kind of breaks the tension, lightens the mood. I don't think it's great for Belichick. I still think all this stuff as a net negative for him. We've got some news that, he may be looked into an outside PR company. I don't know, but Belichick, to say this is unintended and unintended consequences in a bad way to me.
You think?
Yeah.
I'm actually going to say stock up Tom Brady because I think a lot of people are coming around. Oh, okay. Brady was the one. Actually, that was not my stock up, but still, I'll take it. Are you getting into that in your head, Maggie, yet? That, maybe it was Brady all along. Is that popped? It's totally not fair because of a bad book tour, but I'm just thinking, oh, man, I don't know if Belichick was as buttoned up as we thought through all those years.
No, because I think this is all out here for our public consumption. So I think if he had this issue over and over and over again.
But he's had bad interviews for years.
I know, but the winning, kind of hit it.
Right, but he
did do a lot of winning.
Because of?
His defense in the beginning and Brady at the end.
I don't know anymore. I don't know. I feel like maybe it's Brady. Can I give a stock up?
Yeah, go ahead.
For Tyrese Halliburton, by the way? I know his dad wasn't there to see it, but this Pacers team to me, you keep counting them out. I thought they were going to go nowhere last year. And again, this year, I thought that the Cavs were going to kill them. That guy has totally irrational confidence. He threw a ball off the top of the glass at the end of the game yesterday that somehow found its way in. I don't think he's the best player, but I think he's got the attitude you need to pull off these kind of upsets. I'm totally Team Halliburton now. Although, again, I don't think he's the most talented guard in the league, but I think he thinks he is, and it kind of works.
Yeah, it's working for them so far, and it worked all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals a year ago. I'm going to do another stock up here. Stock up on appreciating people's long and successful runs, and that is Greg Popovich, who announced over the weekend that he is going to be stepping down as the head coach of the Spurs. He's not going away, though. He's transitioning to president of basketball operations. Hasn't coached since October, November because he had the stroke. Over 1,400 regular season wins, most in history, the 5 NBA championships. Popovich is one of the greatest and did it his own way. Speaking of Belichick, very gruff with the media and all of that, but you could kind of tell there was like a heart of gold under there. With Belichick, you were never sure. Popovich, I thought, did it with a little more of a twinkle in his eye, maybe a little bit more of a wink and a smile and a knowing glance, where Belichick never really gave you that. But anyway, I just want to pay respects to Greg Popovich. He's not going anywhere. Again, he's going to be the head of basketball operations, but to be off the sideline. And by the way, this is going to be a hell of a decision of who to hand the reins off to, because you got Victor Wembanyama, and who's going to get this job permanently, they have not announced yet, right? They have the interim coach.
They hired him.
Mitch Johnson.
Oh, he's getting it?
Yeah, Mitch is full-time now.
I'm sorry. I must not have seen it. So this is a huge torch that's being passed with Wemby's future in the balance.
I was a little disappointed that Becky Hammon did not get back into this mix. I know she's happy where she is.
Yep.
But that would have been super cool at a certain point. And obviously, as man on the show, I don't know. I want to say
it'd be
that.
All right. No.
Yeah. It just would have been.
I think it'd be incredible.
I think it would have
ceiling.
been so interesting because she clearly has all the credentials in the world, had success with this team. I thought maybe that's where this was headed at one point. Did you think at one point that maybe,
yeah.
And then I kind of thought, oh man, is Tim Duncan going to develop into a coach under him? That didn't happen at all. I think Becky was a lot more closer than Tim Duncan because he was on the staff for a short time. But it's going to be hard. I think it's going to be really hard to follow in his for Mitch Johnson. Generally, when you take over for a great coach like that, it doesn't go well.
Well, he's been there, the head coach, since 1996. It's just crazy. I have one more little one, unless you
Yeah,
want to go.
no, please go ahead.
Stock down on peanut allergies. They kept Mike Tirico from doing the Kentucky Derby pregame. The broadcast was great. They always do a great job. But Tirico, I didn't know he had a peanut allergy. He tore his Achilles, I think, or his ACL earlier this year. Was Achilles? We saw that one of their Sunday nights with Collinsworth. I forgot which one. So tough stretch here for Mike Tirico. He has a terrible peanut allergy.
I did not know that.
Neither did I.
Here's a
I hope he's
guy.
okay.
And so he
By the way,
couldn't do
highest
any of the
rated Derby since '89.
Really?
I think it's the betting. Everyone can bet at home. So they were all into it. My family sat around. We were betting on Admiring Daytona. No idea why. Lucy thought it was a cool name.
I know. I kept my son awake for it because it started for some reason very late on the East Coast. Felt like it started late, 7 o'clock. Listen, he's 5.
Okay.
He still had to do bath time and all that other stuff. Okay, coming up, what happened last night? We'll tell you.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. I don't see a read, but I will proceed as if there is none. Okay. This is Andrew Perloff with a Sports Minute. This is Andrew Perloff with an Odyssey Sports Minute. The Golden State Warriors advance, and Adam Silver breathes a sigh of relief. With LeBron James and the Lakers out, it's good to have at least one living legend like Steph Curry still playing. The NBA has some incredible young players, but they're not quite ready to say goodbye to LeBron and Curry. Eventually, other guys will fill that void, but for now, you need it for ratings. A 4-time champion like Curry, it's good for ratings to have the 4-time champion Curry still alive as they go deeper into the playoffs. I'm Andrew Perloff. I should do that whole thing over again. This is Andrew Perloff with the Sports Minute. This is Andrew Perloff with an Odyssey Sports Minute. The New York Knicks enter the Eastern Conference semis as major underdogs. No one gives them a chance against the defending champion Celtics. But remember, we haven't had a repeat champion since the 2018 Warriors. Something always gets in the way. Usually it's injuries, and the Celtics have had some health issues of late. The Knicks might need some help, but in today's NBA, even the biggest favorites aren't always a guarantee. I'm Andrew Perloff.
.30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
How does he do it? How does he keep pulling off these wins? Seemingly, I don't know. I can't say out of nowhere, but Steph Curry was excellent again last night. Did start off the game well.
On.
Did not start off the game well. Missed 7 of his first 8 shots, but eventually took the Warriors home in what was a blowout Game 7 on an opponent's home court in the Houston Rockets. And the Golden State Warriors are moving on. We're asking, is Steph Curry having a better post-35 playing career, than LeBron James? Age 35, this late career, how these guys have both found the fountain of youth in a lot of ways. But Curry is still playing, and LeBron James is home.
Well, I mean, how does he do it? They were favored in the series. I think they were favored in this game. So, and he did nothing. He just sort of sat around and watched Buddy Hield and Draymond Green give them a big lead.
That was the first half, though. But he ended up shooting 50% from the field, despite missing his first 7 of 8 shots.
They definitely didn't need Steph to get out of that game. I don't think the Rockets could have played an extra quarter and not gotten over 100 points. The Rockets clearly were a flawed team. Their offense is not developed yet. Give this Rockets team 2 or 3 years, then watch out. But right now, they're way too young. Steph Curry doesn't even compare to LeBron James post-35. LeBron James is going so far ahead of everybody else in NBA history from 35 on that I don't think anyone's ever going to catch him. And Steph might be good, but LeBron is rewriting the record book in a way that it will never be touched. Nobody's ever going to have the amount of triple doubles he has at 40 plus. Nobody's ever going to have as many points as he has. It is insane what LeBron is doing. We can't lose sight of that.
I know, but you always say in the LeBron-Jordan debates that you think he's more of a compiler. Who talks about longevity? I mean, and here's the thing, though, about what Steph is doing right now, which is I would believe that Steph Curry could be the focal point, the best player on a championship team, where I don't know if we know that about LeBron anymore. Can LeBron be the best person in a game? Totally. Can he be the best person maybe in a series? But there's a reason why LeBron recruited Anthony Davis, and there's a reason why LeBron now we think will thrive with Luka. And we've got some quotes from LeBron that we'll get to you in just a moment about his future with Luka. But the idea that LeBron is going to be the best player on the Lakers and they'll get to a title, I don't even think a lot of people believe that anymore. If I told you Steph Curry could be the best player on a team that wins a title, I think it's more believable.
Would you have said that 3 weeks ago coming into the playoffs?
Well, the Jimmy Butler trade certainly changed things.
No, I mean, would you have said that 3 weeks ago headed in the playoffs?
I said that the Warriors were going to the Western Conference Finals. So, yes, I did say that. I didn't say win, but I said Western Conference Finals, which is going pretty far.
I might regret this. I don't think Steph Curry is good enough to be the best player on a championship team right now.
Yeah, I disagree. I mean, I think that we've seen his ability to close games. It's unbelievable. And, you know,
I don't think he wins
have
another
continued to build their team around him, whereas it feels like the Lakers are trying to find, like, who can be, you know, the guy who can help LeBron shoulder the load.
Yeah, I don't see them getting past OKC. And then they'd have to beat the Celtics. That's a huge lift for Steph Curry. I don't think he can do it. Now, again, I could be dead wrong and I could regret this. I just don't think he could be the best player on a championship team anymore. Listen, they did it in 2021, 22. I think this field is way tougher, and I think he's a little bit diminished, maybe 5 to 10%. I think the team, Draymond doesn't seem to age either, but at a certain point, I just think that there's too many flaws with this team. How do they handle a really, really big team, too? Now, Houston has Sengun, and they were using Adams a lot. We'll see. I'm curious how this matchup is so interesting because I think they have the same problem as the Lakers. They really don't have a center. So I think
They've won titles before without a traditional center.
I know, but you saw last night the Rockets were like, oh, we're going to pound the ball down low with Sengun. And Sengun's not quite as good as some of the big guys he's going to be facing later in the playoffs. So, no, I don't think Steph Curry is good enough to win a title right now.
888-710-4ISN. We asked you on social media, on Twitter. Maggie and Pearl is where you can go. Who has had a better post-age 35 NBA career, LeBron James or Steph Curry? 68% of you are still saying Curry. The public is with Curry. Now, is this a little recency bias that LeBron got bounced in the first round in a very disappointing way and Curry's still playing? Maybe, but I also think it's something you've talked about a lot, Pearl. LeBron's game is aging well, which is like unbelievable because he plays this above the rim game a lot.
Right.
Curry's game ages even better. So Curry's is about 4 years younger than LeBron James, but why can't he keep this up? The shot never leaves you, right? That's what guys will say. Shooters will always be able to shoot. It's the other stuff that goes away.
Yeah, I mean, here's the issue. Can you rebuild the team around him fast enough to match him? And I just don't think that, am I missing something? I just don't think this Warriors team is quite good enough. Are they on par with OKC, which just has this army of wing defenders coming at you? And they have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's at the absolute peak of his game, compared to Steph, who is probably a step below the peak of his game.
Sean Gilgeous-Alexander.
Well,
I'd just be shocked if they did.
Jokic. I mean,
yeah, maybe Jokic knocks off the Thunder. That would help Steph a lot. And even then, the Golden State would have a major size issue with Denver. No. But Denver has no depth. Yeah, I think that's the Warriors' best chance. And you don't agree with this, but NBA's playoffs are so matchup dependent because there's so much parity right now. So I think Golden State has to avoid OKC and hope Denver wins the series.
Again, you can go to @Maggie and Pearl and vote who's had a better post-age 35 NBA career. Derek is in Baltimore. Derek, you going with LeBron or Steph with this question?
Now, y'all talking about right now. It's LeBron. It's not close. The public got it all wrong. It is LeBron. Listen, what this man is doing, not only that, what this man is expected to do, 26 points per game, 6-7 rebounds and assists per game, that's never going to be done at 40. Never. It might not even be done at 38, 39. Steph, great shooter, can't take that away from him. But 35 and above, it's not even close. It's LeBron hands down. And the people are just tired of LeBron. They just, for whatever reason, they find reasons not to like LeBron. But it's LeBron. It's LeBron hands down.
I know, but Derek, don't you think that Steph Curry doesn't get nearly the amount of blowback and haters as LeBron? But, I mean, it's not like Steph's new around here. This is why we're having this discussion. He's 37 years old.
Right. And here's another thing that makes it even more impressive with LeBron. He played 7 years even before Steph came into the league. So you add that on, and plus the playoff games, the minutes.
Right.
So what he's doing now, he's not load management like some of these previous superstars used to do. The first month of the season, LeBron is, these guys will be sitting out 5, 6, 7 years. LeBron is doing none of that.
Well, LeBron takes a little post All-Star break recently, but I don't. I'm not.
Well,
I don't fault him for it. I don't fault him.
Right, as he should.
Yeah.
He's not 30, he's not 25 anymore. But what that man is still doing, and he has to be the best player on his team. It's not going to be Luka. Luka plays no defense, attempts to play no defense. At least LeBron, he gives you everything. The rebounds, the assists. He tries to still play defense. It might not be what it once was, but he's not a defensive liability. So it's LeBron. Oh, and before I go, the Aaron Rodgers thing. Listen, y'all know Aaron Rodgers, the media. You know good and well what that was. He's not married. That man just wanted some attention. That dude does. Listen to me. Y'all know he will never, ever, he will never not do anything to garner attention. Think about it. He was in a public place. He wasn't by himself. He wasn't walking down the street around the block. He was in a public place full of people. He knew he was going to be there. So what does he say? What can I do to get me some attention? Let me put a ring on my... He could have put that ring on any finger. But let me put it on the middle finger, just like the beach thing. Let me walk on the beach and make it look like I'm thinking in deep thought. This man is a diva, an attention seeker. That man isn't married. That was all attention.
Derek, nothing gets by you, man. That is awesome call. Thank you for making it very funny. We were talking about Aaron Rodgers was at the Kentucky Derby, and he was wearing a ring on his wedding ring finger. And we thought, geez, did he secretly get married to Brittany with an I? Because, to be fair, that would be out of character. I think that Aaron Rodgers is going to have like a very well-known wedding when he does get married. I think it's going to be,
I said, you don't know me.
All of his teammates will be there.
You don't know me. And then I said, exactly.
I could see a ayahuasca-themed elopement.
You have to take some before the ceremony. But anyway, then Barry from South Jersey called in and said, no, he was wearing a smart ring, which is something that people could wear to track their heart rate and their vitals. But that's a good point by Derek, good counterpoint. First of all, you're not working out at the Kentucky Derby. Do you really have to be monitoring your heart? Do you have to be tracking your steps? You're standing around at a party mostly, right? You could have taken it off, or you could have put it on a different finger.
I don't know. I don't want to think about this anymore. Derek's got me realizing that this is, I agree with Derek. It's more Aaron Rodgers wanting attention. I'm not going to fall for it this time. Hey, can I give you a couple numbers on this post-35? Just to tell you where LeBron is historically.
Go ahead.
I'm looking at a list from last year, the best post-35 careers. Karl Malone's number 2, averaged 20.8 after 35 to 40. Impressive. Kareem's number 3, 18 points per game since then. LeBron's at 26.8 points per game since he turned 35.
It blows everyone away.
I mean, come on. And this has nothing to do with the LeBron-Jordan debate, but his longevity, Curry's already trending down in scoring. I think Curry's going to be probably at 22, 23. LeBron is scoring a huge amount of points. I actually don't even know how he's doing it.
Yeah, but I don't want to act like Steph Curry is just like hanging out, 12th man on the bench. He averaged 29.4, so round down. Okay, 29 points in his age 34 season, 26 points in age 35, and now 25 points this year. There's not a cliff here, dude.
At 35, the year when we're starting this, he was at 26.4.
Yeah.
That's already below the average where LeBron is at 40. I mean, he's starting out below LeBron, and he was at 24.5. There's no way, if you're looking at points, he's not going to be in the same league as LeBron. And I don't think it's a guarantee that he gets more playoff success because LeBron won his at 35. Steph was 34. I know you guys don't count the bubble as much, but still, I don't know. I don't see the path is that obvious to get the greatest late career. And here's the other question: Can Curry catch? If he's so great post 35, is he going to catch LeBron on the all-time list?
Listen, I think there's some people who are ready for it. They're ready to put him there. And I don't love some of the arguments for it, like, oh, he never left a team and he's stayed in one place his whole career. Like he gets extra credit for that. When Kevin Durant came when they were a 73 win team, 73 win team, they both played on super teams. The geography to that doesn't really matter so much.
What about the argument you never had to hide LeBron on defense where you hide Steph?
I can understand that. Listen, I'm not somebody who said Steph has passed him yet. I'm just saying this post-35 career, this is something where I think Steph is really going to shine. And I'm not taking away from LeBron. He has defied what aging means in professional sports almost as much as Tom Brady.
The Warriors were a below 500 team until the Jimmy Butler. I believe they were below 500. They were a play-in team. It's not like he is laying the world on fire post 35.
Well, LeBron's been a playoff team post 35.
I'm just saying that Greg, Curry has not distinguished himself yet. He might in this playoffs. Post 35, he's really achieved nothing of significance yet.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. So got that for you. Who's had the better post 35 career so far? We also have the Micah Parsons, Dak Prescott locker rearrangement. Now, according to Brian Schottenheimer, they are going to have their lockers right next to each other, so they can chit-chat about, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if those guys have a ton in common because there's about an 8-year age difference.
No, why? Why did Brian Schottenheimer think this was a necessary move right now? And we do have quotes from LeBron James, jumping around a little bit, but back to basketball. Quotes from LeBron James about Luka Doncic. New quotes that have come out about what the offseason may look like. We'll get that to you next. It's Maggie Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. I had an against the grain thought last night.
Should we hit the music or?
No, I was actually thinking about the future of the NBA and this big trade from Dallas to LA of Luka Doncic. You know what team could use a Luka Doncic? Houston Rockets. Now that I was like, oh man, you should put Luka on Houston with Amen Thompson. Then I want to see this because the topic of Luka's future was a big thing this weekend. I just don't know that there's anything happening there in LA. I look at the Lakers' future, and it seems very, very hard for me to squint and see them build a champion. I don't know how they do it. I like your idea that superstars always fall in their laps, but I honestly think at some point maybe Luka looks elsewhere because I'm not sure this is the spot for him.
Oh, but how could this be the time to be pessimistic about the Lakers? You just got this like all-time gift. Now it's going to be like, well, I don't know if they can build a team around it. It's like, well, how about you get a head start? How about that? You got Luka Doncic had to give up one first-round draft pick for him. Like, that doesn't exist, right? It was one. It's insane. You got Luka. You got to keep Austin Reeves, which is touted as a good thing. You had to give up Max
Christie, Maggie.
I know.
Max Christie, who is supposed to be this great defensive analytics guy.
Yeah, and Anthony Davis, obviously. And so you got someone to unload your veteran who has not been able to really show that they can stay healthy, not nearly as much as you need to. But the quotes from LeBron James to ESPN this weekend, I thought were interesting, noteworthy. Not going to be trying to recruit Luka back to the Lakers or not convincing him to sign long-term with the Lakers. James, this was a print article. He said, nope, that ain't my job. I know, he goes, I know Luka knows how I feel about him, and ultimately that trade happened for the future. That's not for me. Luka has to decide what he has to do with his future. He's 26 years old. I'm 40. So he can't be basing his career off me. That's just real. Listen,
okay.
He's totally right. Obviously,
Yeah.
He's 40 and Luka's 26. But LeBron, more often than not, whether it was recruiting guys to come play with him, like Anthony Davis and making that whole thing, or I'm going to say plotting, like conspiring. I mean, this sounds sinister. Getting together with Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade to go to Miami. Kevin Love, the trade to get Andrew Wiggins out and Kevin Love in. He has always been somebody, wherever he's been, who's wanted a say in front office things and personnel, the shadow GM, Le GM. We clown him sometimes for that. For him to go publicly, I'm hands off on this one, guys, this is up to y'all, is not in his nature. Right? So it's noticeable. It's very noticeable.
It does seem like Luka arrived without LeBron's input. And I'm starting to believe that. So LeBron didn't bring him in. And honestly, let me just ask, body language-wise, did you see a bromance there? Because I'm not sure I totally saw it. I understand they said nice things about each other for sure, but I'm not sure that they are Batman and Robin yet.
To be honest, I never noticed anything. I mean, I love doing the body language thing.
I know. But did you remember seeing anything where they seemed particularly bonded?
I don't think you have to guess with LeBron. I think he generally kind of lets people know. It can be passive aggressive. I'll give you that. But, as a woman, I kind of speak that language. I think that he lets you know where you stand at all times. I think people think he's not like Michael Jordan in that way, but I think he actually is. He just goes about it in slightly different way, right?
But you just said that you don't believe him that, I thought you were saying that you don't believe that he's going to have nothing to do with Luka.
No, I think he's just saying I'm going hands off on this one, and it was noticeable, but I don't think that means ipso facto he and Luka don't have a good relationship. I'm not saying that. He's sending a message here to the front office, which is, you guys are doing this without me, and I'm not sure why. I would have more questions about LeBron and the front office of the Lakers than I would about LeBron and Luka.
I just don't think there's any special connection there yet. Obviously, they haven't had a lot of games to play together, so that kind of makes sense. But you saw Jimmy Butler get to Golden State, and they're this Batman and Robin duo. They've been playing up this Batman and Robin thing with him and Steph Curry.
Which is very funny that Buddy Hield said, no, I'm Robin now, and you're the Butler, Alfred. because even your last name's
good.
Butler.
I didn't even see that. But yeah, I just think that's obviously a love fest. I just didn't get that vibe with Luka and LeBron, maybe because they lost. Maybe I'm playing the result a little bit here. But I also, style-wise, they're very similar players. They don't complement each other. Third of all, LeBron, age-wise, is going to be out of there soon. So how does Luka form a good enough super team to win an NBA title when he's got maybe one more year of effective LeBron? It's a weird fit. I don't think Luka would leave because it is LA and it is the most money, but it is the most money, right? He gets a higher max or?
Yeah, but it's just not as much as Dallas could have given him.
Okay. I still think if you look at Luka why was Luka crying when he left Dallas? I just honestly don't think that he was dying to get out to LA, and I'm just not sure that this is the perfect marriage right now. So when LeBron said that, I actually thought, oh man, maybe Luka would explore the rest of the NBA. I don't think he will because of the money, but it just doesn't seem like we're going to say, wow, that was one of the great duos in NBA history.
Well, it just might be a little too late.
Yeah, timing-wise. Timing does play a huge role.
But again, I never saw anything about that didn't signify that they weren't united, right? Or that they didn't like playing with each other.
I just didn't see, Game 5, they came out flat. Their body language, both of it was terrible.
Gassed,
I know.
tired.
Yeah, Luka had a bad back, but they just didn't seem energized by one another.
Also, we got the LeBron, did he have a knee injury, right?
Oh, of course we did.
Out.
Of course we did.
Sprained MCL.
Yeah. Of course we found that out.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, you guys, I'm not throwing shade. Listen, I'm not throwing shade. He's out there we're asking today who's had the better post-35 career, LeBron James or Steph Curry. You don't think LeBron's playing through injuries? You're going to,
Well, okay.
do a side eye on that? Of
You
course
saw
he's got
them they came out in Game 5 with no energy at all. And maybe it was injury, maybe it was fatigue, but clearly mentally I didn't think they were engaged. I think they were either tight or just disinterested. I mean, they lost. They lost in 5 games in a series they were favored in.
Yeah, I think they were just so dead tired.
It's also playoff code. You don't blame injuries when you lose. You just, like when he lost in the finals, remember he had that pathetic hand wrap on his hand to show that he had a hurt hand. That's why they lost. Like, come on,
By the way, you're absolutely right. I mean, I have no doubt he had a sprained MCL.
Yeah,
I do believe
too.
that.
Yeah.
But it's just like LeBron, I think you've used all your excuses. And you're 40 anyway.
Clearly, you guys have not been paying close enough attention.
You know the guys on the T-Wolves had injuries? Of course. That's why you don't say it. Because you say, well, the other team's dealing with injuries too. So it's not, everyone's hurt at this point in the season.
It's also a reminder about time. It does matter. LeBron is 40. It's very hard to hold up. We have this fantasy that he's going to be able to do it every year, and he's just not.
Let's get to Bogusch. He's got headlines for us on a very busy Monday.
And I've got some breaking news from college football. ESPN says that Michigan's about to self-impose a 2-game suspension on head coach Sharon Moore in connection with the Connor Stallions case. Moore will miss weeks 3 and 4 against Central Michigan and Nebraska, which allows him to work week 2 against his alma mater, Oklahoma.
Wasn't Central Michigan the place where, what's-his-face, Connor Stallions was found?
Mm-hmm.
Wait. I'm so confused about all this. Why now?
He's getting ahead of it. Remember all the text messages that he deleted?
Why not last year, though?
Because I think
the scandal was 2 years ago. Why would they not hit him?
Because they were doing the investigation into last season. And last season is when we found out that he deleted like 80 text messages on the day that Stallions...
2 seasons ago.
No, last season. I think
last season they were doing the investigation,
right.
But the whole scandal was 2 years ago.
The scandal happened 2 years ago. But you know how college football, these things work. It's always super delayed.
Why did they hit him last year, though, when the team wasn't even in contention? They should have gotten him at like week 9 and brought him back for Ohio State.
So in August of 2024, the NCAA cited Michigan for 11 violations. The school and the association have been working toward resolution since then. So I don't know... Has any punishment been given out for this?
Yeah,
Harbaugh's gone.
Just this, I guess, right?
No, Harbaugh got suspended.
So that was about a Big Ten, though.
So Harbaugh got suspended twice the year they won the championship. He got suspended for the recruiting violation. You remember the hamburger thing where he took out a recruit during COVID when he shouldn't have been there, and it was notable because he ordered a hamburger for breakfast, which is a savage move.
What a freak.
And then at the end, he got it was a ban by the Big Ten for the Connor Stallions.
Right, for lying.
Right. This is the NCAA.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I thought you said Michigan self-imposed.
Or yes, to placate
Yes,
the NCAA.
because the NCAA have not resolved this entire investigation. So before the NCAA tells you, here's how we're punishing you, Michigan is doing this.
They're trying to fall on the
hoping that
sword.
this is enough.
Right. They
Punishing
could
themselves.
I'm just saying they could have done that last year. Obviously, they could have self-imposed. And gotten ahead
I
of
mean,
it. You said it was wrapped up by August, or it was.
No, it started and it has not finished yet.
They didn't start the investigation in Connor Stallions until August 2024.
For Sharon Moore's role in this because because I think they had to find the text messages that got deleted and all that.
I think what you're just missing the timeline. So the investigation starts
in October 2023.
In August of 2024 is when the NCAA goes, this is what we're charging you with.
Right.
And then since then, which is only, August to now is 9 months, you go back and forth, there's evidence, there's counter arguments, and then you get close to being, okay, here's what you're going to agree on the punishment is. So that's so Michigan goes, let's do this now, and maybe they don't give them 4 games in a couple of weeks.
Right. They could have done that last year, too. I'm just saying. They
could have.
It was early in the process, earlier.
Right. They might not have understood where things were going to suspend him last year.
I just think the funny part is you're picking and choosing which games you want to be suspended for, right?
Yes.
So New Mexico is their opener.
Yes.
And then Oklahoma, then they're at Oklahoma. So he definitely wants to be there for that game. But then he'll take off Central Michigan at Nebraska. That's not going to be an easy game.
But he went to and worked at Oklahoma. So he wants to work that game.
Right.
And he can't be suspended for week 1 and 3. You would assume.
Do they have to be subsequent? Why doesn't he just?
So I get. Listen, there are clearly no rules because he's picking which games.
No, this is insane.
But this is back-to-back suspension. At least back-to-back weeks looks correct. But he's still picking. He's still picking, and they always do. He's still picking when he's going to be punished.
You're
it's ridiculous.
You're
what
a
if
fan
he's
of this, Pearl.
All right, I'll take off September 13th and November 1st against Purdue.
It's a total joke. You can't go out weeks 3 and 4. That's insane. What are we doing here?
Well, they're actually playing a harder schedule this year than the Northwest East South state that they played with Jim Harbaugh.
Well, he should have definitely taken last year because they were coming off the title team. And I guess they had it last year they were not going to win the title again. Now, you're kind of hurting yourself.
You guys are 3 parents over there. Would you guys ever accept a self-imposed punishment from your kids?
No.
Picking the date? Of course not. But this is
I'll stay in on Tuesday and Wednesday if
Yeah.
you let me go out Friday and Saturday.
It's a little like the
Not the
MLB. When the MLB suspends starting pitchers, they have to add to it because they know that they're on a rotation. It's so stupid.
Oh, a 6-game suspension for a pitcher?
Right.
Yeah.
College basketball coaches always miss non-conference games. They're never suspended for league games.
What was it? The Texas A&M suspended Johnny Manziel for the first half of a game that they were going to kill somebody in. No.
Against an FCS school?
Yeah. Or I can't remember the exact details, but we're really going to send a message. You are out against Troy State.
Remember James Winston tried to just get away from his suspension at Florida State? They were playing Clemson, which ironically I think was Deshaun Watson's first ever start or Clemson, our first game he played. And he just showed up in his uniform
anyway.
He was going to play.
He was warming up.
My middle name is Leonard.
Jimbo Fisher's like, bro, take off the pad. You're not playing.
You just stole all these crab legs from Publix. We got to sit you.
Sorry, Manziel was against Rice that they suspended for half a game. The Rice
A platypus is a platypus.
By the way, Jameis was doing the Tommy DeVito video. I don't know how viral that went over the weekend. You showed it to me first, Pearl.
Gabagool.
Sweet potato.
But that's Tommy Cutlets' thing. He's the one who does the paisano, hand gesture. You can't take that.
I think people know the difference between Jameis doing it and Tommy doing it. But wait, can I get back to one thing we were just talking about? Why did it take till August to investigate Sharon Moore? Everybody knew there was a documentary out by December of that year.
Again, it did not start in August.
Well, I'm just saying,
they were given their indictment.
I understand what you're saying, Bogusch. I'm just saying, we all knew what Sharon Moore did by November of 2023. Michigan could have suspended him the same day the Harbaugh was suspended.
I actually don't know when they found out that he deleted texts because that's what he's getting punished for. I don't know when that happened.
I'm
but
just
the
saying,
case is old, yes.
We all kind of knew the deal in Michigan. It's not like that you needed some massive investigation team. That's all I'm saying. It was kind of obvious.
The excuse for Sharon Moore deleting the text messages with Connor Stallions was I was just so appalled that he would go behind our backs and do this to the University of Michigan. I wanted no more record of him. It's like, all right.
He did not say that. You're making that up. Did he really say that?
Yes.
Unbelievable. Yeah, college football is a joke.
Maybe this was a good sign for the Knicks and Nuggets, who are heavy underdogs in their second round series. The Pacers, not supposed to win game 1 in Cleveland last night, but they did.
Pacers lead by 3. They leave Nembhard open, and they pay the price out on the far sideline. A 3-ball. Do they not know their personnel?
Mark Boyle on Pacers Radio. Cleveland made mistakes. Indy made shots. Andrew Nembhard with one of their 19 threes. He scored a team-high 23. 22 from Tyrese Halliburton. All 5 Pacers starters had at least 13 in this 121-112 win. Buddy Hield had 33 as the Warriors finally closed out the Rockets, 103-89 in Game 7 in Houston. Hield didn't score in Game 6, so Steve Kerr was impressed last night.
I don't know what to say. I mean, that was really incredible watching him light it up in that first half especially, and then down the stretch as well.
Steph Curry threw in 14 fourth-quarter points to close out the win, which makes Kerr the first coach to win 3 road Game 7s. Up next, the T-Wolves. That Game 1 is tomorrow. We were just in Green Bay, and it was great. Pittsburgh should be fun next April. And then in 2027, the NFL Draft reportedly is in Washington, D.C. on the National Mall near the Washington Monument. The official announcement is expected this afternoon. The Winnipeg Jets tied Game 7 with the Blues with 3 seconds left in regulation, then won it in double overtime on a goal by Adam Lowry. The tying goal was the latest in Game 7 history, and the Jets are now just the 5th team ever to erase a 2-goal third-period hole in a Game 7.
Who do you play in Week 8?
Sunday Night Baseball in Atlanta. The Braves trying to beat the Dodgers for the first time in 6 tries.
1-1 to Riley. And Riley hits another one deep to center field, to the wall. Off it goes! His second home run of the game, and he's breathing fire here early on this Sunday night versus the Dodgers. 4-0 Braves.
That's Ben Ingram on Braves Radio. Austin Riley, 2 2-run homers for a 4-3 win over L.A. And finally, just stick with me here for a second. Cornell earned the number 1 seed in the NCAA men's lacrosse tournament yesterday. Okay. The Big Red waiting on the winner of a Siena-UAlbany play-in game. Those Siena Saints won the MAC title game over Sacred Heart on Saturday. Of course. That's when this happened on ESPNU.
Sacred Heart to the man up, trailing by 2 at the beginning of this 4th quarter.
A lot of people saying Sacred Heart has diarrhea.
Okay, we apologize for our crowd mic.
Whoops. Somebody found the crowd mic and started talking directly into it during the broadcast.
Broadcaster style.
Oh, so wait, this is not a sideline reporter reporting their stomach issues with Sacred Heart?
No.
This isn't a Paul Pierce, someone get the wheelchair.
No team flu, no food poisoning the night before.
This reminds me of the time some F1 fan found the mic around the track and just started going, meow, 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 just when the cars were passing by.
Oh my gosh! Was that all we got from the commentary, or was there more?
No, they quickly went into a replay of the penalty that led to that man up situation. But it happened once, kind of inaudible, and then the second time she made sure she was going to be obvious.
Wait, that was a woman?
I thought so.
Yeah, it sounded like a woman.
Yeah.
Sacred Heart to the man up, trailing by 2 at the beginning of this 4th quarter.
A lot of people saying Sacred Heart has diarrhea.
Okay, we apologize for our crowd mic.
It's so funny. Okay. It's definitely a dude.
People.
It's definitely a dude.
Oh, I hear a female voice.
I thought it was a woman.
I'm a woman, number 3.
Oh, all right.
I think that's a dude with just a funny voice.
A lot of people. He's like on the verge of laughing. The fact that he
play it one more time. I think I heard a woman the whole time.
Sacred Heart to the man up, trailing by 2 at the beginning of this 4th quarter.
Man.
A lot of people saying Sacred Heart has diarrhea.
Okay, we apologize for our crowd mic.
It's the okay. I think that's what's killing me. Okay. That's really, I will turn this car around. All right, guys, knock it off.
Now you're grounded for Wednesdays and Thursdays,
yes,
but weekends you're free.
It's a Sharon Moore imposed grounding. It's just Tuesday from 4 to 5. That's funny. A lot of people.
Okay.
Appreciate also getting to some funny words without cursing.
Yes.
You know?
Yep.
Could have just started dropping F-bombs and been real immature about it, like the people who prank Shedeur Sanders and pranking some of these draftees, but instead actually try to make something funny out of it.
Yeah, that's real talent. That's
a lot of people saying Shedeur has diarrhea right now.
Okay. Did 2 or 3 more guys get pranked? Came out this weekend. Another set of guys got pranked. So most of the first round got pranked.
That's crazy.
Sorry. Somebody called and said, you have diarrhea.
A lot of people saying Abdul Carter's got diarrhea.
We had a guy when I was growing up as a Phillies fan at the vet. There was a crowd mic. There was always a guy behind home plate who always would say something to the effect of swing batter. Did you guys have that guy growing up?
Swing batter, hey batter, hey batter.
There was always, it was pointing at this guy for, I don't know, 30 years. He's always there. He's always saying swing batter or something. I don't remember the exact, but crowd
maybe by
mics,
the end they were like piping it in like the birds
I
and the
wonder
Masters.
that. I don't know. You always hear, there seems like one fan at a baseball game whose audio gets on there.
I went to a Mets-Dodgers game, and I'm sitting kind of like in like the Delta section behind home plate. And there was a guy. No, trust me, no. I was like maybe 30 rows back. There was a guy who must have been like maybe 5 rows back. And this guy was so loud. He sounded like a Little League coach, like Bogusch coaching Little League, giving the Mets advice. Like Lindor's at the plate. He's like, choke up on the bat. Choke up on nothing easy. Nothing easy. I'm like, I'm pretty sure Francisco Lindor knows how to handle this.
Okay.
Imagine telling a Major League Baseball player, nothing easy. Choke up on the bat.
Meanwhile, if a regular person was standing in the box, they'd probably have, a lot of people say they'd have diarrhea if they saw 100 mile an hour coming at them. Just saying. Bogusch, thank you. That was dynamite. Okay. All right.
I like to close strong with diarrhea. See you guys tomorrow.
Awesome mic drop. Coming up, we got a couple things for you. One, a controversy going on with one of those draft picks, Perloff, who did get pranked, and more. It's Maggie Perloff.
What is that?
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Round Ball Rock. Welcome back to the Maggie Perloff Show. Back in its rightful place, Pearl, with the NBA back on NBC. Never felt right that they would use this sometimes on college games. Like, welcome to the A-10 tournament.
Yeah.
It's like, this doesn't
George Washington
fit.
against Fordham, baby. Woo!
Well, we know how that ended.
Did Fox buy this or something? Like, isn't that how it ended up being in all these
FS1,
weird places? Yeah.
Fox and FS1 was using it on some of their college tournaments. So NBA back on NBC, which means John Tesh's masterpiece of Round Ball Rock is back in our lives. The way it should be.
NBC also signed Carmelo Anthony this weekend. I think he's going to be good, but I didn't really know. I mean, EJ, you're the Carmelo Anthony fan. Is he going to be a good analyst?
He's a very good podcaster.
Yep.
He's very good at telling stories. He's very good at relating his stories to the players today. I think he'll be really good because I think the NBA is sorely lacking guys who have played in anything close to today's modern era, talking about the game on the TV partners, right? Like Kenny, Shaq, and
right.
And, Charles Barkley played in the 90s. Shaq played in the 2000s, but like not anywhere how it is now. And I think a lot of guys on ESPN that they're pushing, even Kendrick Perkins, that's a while ago when he was playing in the NBA. So I think Melo was playing. He just retired. He just tried a couple years ago.
Kendrick Perkins, didn't he play till 2012 or something? You were saying,
right? That's 13 years ago now.
Danny Green has been good for them. I mean, they've got some guys.
I mean, I'm talking about the primary guys. Like, Perkins he's on the set for NBA, the NBA countdown. He's going to be on set in the NBA finals. Like a little bit past their prime. I think getting more current players to talk about the game will actually help the product. And I think it will help fans to understand what the hell's going on.
The one thing I just hope for NBC is I hope they don't stick Melo in like a really sterile studio environment.
Yeah, good point.
His podcast is more of a lean back kind of thing, and it's hard to replicate that on TV. Like, we're a radio show. We have a podcast, and you can download it. It's awesome. Maggie and Perloff Pod. But like it's a different assignment, for doing a podcast versus live radio or television.
Well, I think also, too, who the analysts are is really not a huge factor in how this product's going to do on NBA. I think the state of the league is, does LeBron get to the finals? Things like that are like, ultimately, people are tuning in for the game. I mean, in the 90s when it was at its peak, it definitely wasn't because of the analysts. I know you had Costas, but it was about Costas and Doug Collins.
Bill Walton. That was a big deal.
No, it wasn't. For Jordan, you watched Jordan because you had to watch Jordan. I think it was Collins and Bill Walton. It was also Doug Collins was in there.
And Snapper Jones, they were an iconic duo.
Bill Walton and Snapper Jones, that's not why we're watching Michael Jordan.
But you're moving it to watching Michael Jordan. Of course we were just going to watch Michael Jordan. I'm saying, though, that definitely added an element to the broadcast.
I don't think so. I think it's really the say of the league. I don't think that anyone's going to watch NBC because of Jamal Crawford or Carmelo Anthony. I think you need the league to be in a really healthy place and the right players. I think the big issue is once LeBron retires, how are you going to get eyeballs there?
Well, as far as like the nuts and bolts of whether a studio show is going to work, it's about chemistry, and being able to, have good chemistry. Like Dirk Nowitzki is going to be doing Amazon. Who do they put him with? Is Dirk going to be able to gel with Taylor Rooks or whoever it is? Are they going to be able to like find this good mix? The same thing with Melo. Who else is going to be on the set? The reason why Inside the NBA works, Charles is great on his own. Kenny's great on his own. Shaq's great on his own. EJ is amazing. But them together is what makes it. What's that?
I am amazing.
Yeah. We say that every day.
I'm going to disagree a little bit on that. I mean,
any show can suck. You need chemistry.
Charles. You just need Charles. If you pull Charles out of that mix, does any of it matter?
Well, Charles is such a unique.
Yeah, I feel like Charles makes things work. And I agree the chemistry is amazing.
Yeah, but Charles and Gayle King didn't work. It doesn't. It doesn't always lead to. That Charles and Gayle King had like a show on CNN.
What? Really? I had no idea.
Exactly.
You fool! But
any show can suck. It's just that they found this really great chemistry. And yeah, Charles is like a one of one.
Charles on March Madness hasn't been great.
No, he's not. He barely seems like he's watching college basketball. But let me ask you this, EJ. You always say Inside the NBA is bad for the NBA because they're critical, although it is the most popular
Not necessarily
show.
why I say it's bad, but okay.
Well, okay. Who said that? Who is the guy who came out?
I say it's bad, but it's not because they're critical. I think it's because they don't really know what they're talking about half the time, and they welcome that.
Was it LeBron who came out and said all the NBA analysts are too negative and that's hurting the league?
Yeah, they should be trying to promote the league more.
Yeah, I don't think the analysts really make the ratings. I think it's the product. I mean, ESPN has learned that the hard way over the years because what the most valuable thing in sports is the rights to show the games. You should be paying the analysts $40 million. But regardless, I see what you're saying. NBC is an interesting experiment. They paid a lot of money for this. I'm really curious. Can they recapture the round ball rock era? Will that music ever mean the same thing?
I mean, you got to just go all in, right? You got to bring back NBA Inside Stuff, which I know got rebooted already once with Grant Hill, I think, and Kristen Ledlow, who stepped away. But I think you got to go back to the NBA Inside Stuff. We need the 1:00 tip-offs. I don't know if they're going to do that.
Here's the bigger issue, too. The media landscape is so different. Nobody under 30 has TV anymore. This is a totally different world than 1998.
Which is maybe a reason why you need stars as your analyst a little bit more to get a little more attention. Like when something that Chuck says goes viral, last night he's halftime of the Rockets game, just like all these losers got to get in the gym and learn how to shoot, and it's entertaining. So maybe now more than ever, you need strong voices like Melo coming out and saying something controversial would certainly help them. I don't know if he's going to do that.
Carmelo
he did say that. Anthony Edwards wasn't a superstar? And remember, Anthony Edwards made a whole commercial about it, and that was I think Melo will say stuff.
I think Melo's in the mix, but I don't think he's going to be that over-the-top guy like Charles.
But I don't think he needs to be. I don't think people want that. I think I'm telling you. I think we're talking about is the difference between critical and being personal. I think people are tired of the personal stuff. I think the Gilbert Arenas said when he did his audition with NBC, that's what they told him.
Yeah, but NBC, for example, Football Night in America tends to be a little non-critical, I would say, and people don't love that. Like, I think, it gets good ratings because that game is huge, but nobody's like, oh, man, do you remember what they said there? I think that, I bet you NBC goes a little bit like ESPN, a little bit non-critical.
Good segue there to another story we wanted to hit quickly, and I say Football Night in America because Chris Sims is on Football Night in America, and his father, Phil, was in the news this weekend, of course, legendary New York Giants quarterback and also broadcaster, because Abdul Carter already got stonewalled by Lawrence Taylor because Lawrence said he wasn't going to give him number 56, which I don't know why you'd want to walk into the NFL with those kind of expectations, but kudos to the young man for having a lot of confidence. So then he was talking about 11 because obviously that's the famous number for Penn State football that gets passed down. But Phil Simms has that number, which is also retired. Phil originally said yes, he could have it, then said over the weekend after speaking with his family, they convinced him to not give up the number.
That's a shame.
I just wonder, how did anyone talk him out of it? Like, doesn't Phil just get to say, listen, I don't care. I'm going to give him my number. End of story?
How about you just pick a different number?
Well, he
End of
could
story.
pick a
Like what? What are we doing here?
Is he already a pain in your ass?
Oh, kind of. Like who cares?
Abdul Carter?
He'll be worth it. He'll
Pick
be worth it.
55, pick 57, pick 10. I don't care. Who cares? Just go out there and get 5 sacks for me, please.
Well, you can't pick 10.
I don't. Oh, yeah, that's a very valid point. I totally.
Somebody
totally
of Eli Manning.
Yeah.
But sure.
Hey, what? Oh, that's Eli?
Oh yeah. 2 times.
I mean,
Super Bowl
56 is the one, right?
Well, I mean, but it's retired, and again, you don't want to set yourself. You don't walk in. Oh, I'm gonna be, just as good as Lawrence Taylor. That's the best football player that's ever lived on defense. Just pick your own number, bro. Please. Enough with this.
I just can't believe Phil's family was able to talk him out of it. I don't know. I'm surprised by that. Phil seems like he's pretty stuck to his ways and sticks to his guns. Big fan of the show. EJ Stewart, thank you. Manny Rodriguez, thank you. Andrew Bogusch, Andrew Kaplan, Weedos and coffee drinkers, you know who you are. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
Come on, man.
You're in a 5-minute break.